Uwu? Uwu! Juwun. Oh, my microphone working. Okay, it's working. Juwun. Flavor's fruitiest, juiciest, and manliest femboy VTuber, Juwun Sugarfloom, at your service. Juwun. Hello, Eisen. Hello, ℎ𝕨𝕭𝓼𝓏. I hope you're enjoying your cottage. Whatever you're doing in the cottage, I hope you're enjoying it. Hello, Rastal Elon. Hello, Random Perv. Hello, Meso. Start throwing it back. I need a June to e-bag. I'm gonna be e-bagging. I will be e-bagging. Hello, Nimby. Good morning, wherever you are. And evolved to the boy princess. It might be a while. You'll just have to be patient. I need. Okay, this is not e-begging for dollars. This is e-begging for Solaris. But I need some more dollars before I can do that. Hello, Taz. Hello. E-poor. I am e-rich. I am e-rich, but IRL poor. I've gotten kind of rich in this game. Mostly thanks to my sponsor Chuji. Hello, Jaha. Streaming regularly again. Hopefully regularly again. Just like your bowel movements. Hopefully my streaming will be just like your bowel movements. Regular. The thing about nursing, this is crazy, but in nursing, nurses have a little sort of an obsession with regular bowel movements. One of the first questions that patients hear from me is, "Did you have a bowel movement today?" Imagine meeting a new person and one of the first few questions they ask you is, "Did you have a bowel movement today? What did it look like?" And then if you say no, okay, no, are you passing gas at least? At least are you farting? Are you farting today, bro? Did you fart today? It's a weird line of business, but those are important questions. Those are important questions in my line of work. It's not because we like looking at it. It's just important part of the day. It's an important part of their nursing assessment, especially in the surgical. Sorry about that. YouTube hasn't notified me for a long time. You know why? Do you know why? It's because I haven't been streaming. You haven't gotten notifications because I haven't been streaming. It is my fault. Slammed down a dozen vitamin C pills. Wait, you're a nurse? I invoke the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth, Mr. Police Officer. We don't have music. Let's turn the music on. There. I invoke the fifth. Hello! Thank you for subscribing, whoever you are. It's okay. No, I am a nurse. For those who are not familiar with the lore, I am a vampire, werewolf, were-tiger, manticore, phantasmal species, X 3-letter agent, femboy VTuber, and that is how I get my blood. Because I'm a vampire, I need blood, so I trade my services for blood, pretty much. And since hospitals have a lot of blood, stab it, you do miss the bingo. I miss the bingo too. I've lost the bingo. I've lost the bingo. But anyway, that is how I get reimbursed for my services. I get paid in blood. You'd give your blood. Thank you so much for your donation. Thank you so much. Your essence will continue to live through me. There you go, because I am pretty much immortal. I will live forever, and if you donated your blood will live through me. There you go. I needed Juwun to nurse me for real. Not just you. Everyone wants me to nurse them. It's one of the O types. Very good. It's just like, you know, O is the most common type, which is good because it's not like one of those legendary types. Like when it comes to Pokemon, I don't really like legendary Pokemon. I prefer much the common Pokemon. Well, like my favorite Pokemon is Gengar. Ghastly is pretty common. Turning Ghastly into a Gengar might be a little bit of a difficulty if you can trade. But for the most part, it's a common Pokemon. Just like O. O is like the Ghastly. Hello, Astra Dagger. How's everyone doing? I'm great. How about you? Are you Astra daggering tonight? I hope you're daggering those Astras. And I hope everyone is doing good tonight. Because we will be begging for money. We will be begging for Solaris. Common of it is O positive. Second rarest or the one rarest is O negative. I think O negative is the most common. I'm not sure. I just drink blood. I don't dabble in the blood formulation. The rarest will be AB. AB would be the rarest. I'm alright. Going vacation to Boston soon. Well, enjoy your vacation. Slams a bottle. So that's how you counter your vitamin C. You know, we can talk about poop all night. I have so much to say about poop. But that might be off-putting. Because bro, I have become a master of diagnosing people just by their poop. Not exactly a master, but you can tell a lot of things from poop, you know. Okay, never mind. That is a rabbit hole. That is a rabbit hole we probably shouldn't be diving into tonight. We should be diving into the toilet. Let's try and keep it above the belt. Above the belt. But speaking of magnesium, yeah, don't you know that magnesium makes you poop? Yeah, it's the magnesium makes you poop, especially the cheaper brands of magnesium. Like for example, if you're to go to the pharmacy and you wanted to buy a magnesium supplement, magnesium oxide, which is the cheapest version of magnesium, that will make you poop. So just follow the instructions on the label and try not to overdo it. Because that will make you poop. The best form of magnesium you can buy that won't give you like diarrhea would be magnesium glycinate. Is that how you pronounce it? But anyway, that's a better form of magnesium. But that's why magnesium citrate is a laxative. Bro, I know so many laxatives and a lot of them have magnesium, like milk of magnesia. Milk of magnesia is another laxative and look at that, it has magnesium. And it's called milk of magnesia because it looks like milk. It really looks like milk. It's white, it's milky. And if you mix it with, have you ever seen prune juice? Prune juice kind of looks like chocolate. Prune juice, not exactly kinda. It looks a little bit like chocolate. But if you mix prune juice with milk of magnesia, it will look like chocolate. It will 100% look like chocolate. But it'll also make chocolate come out your butt. Prune juice plus milk of magnesia is what we call it in the business. In our business, we call it the brown cow. It looks the same going and it's coming out. But that is what we call in the business a brown cow. And that brown cow will make you go like a cow. It's almost like magic sometimes. So, but the thing is, if you're plugged up, if it's really plugged up, then sometimes... Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing right now? Why are we talking about poop? We're supposed to be e-bagging tonight. I feel like in some cultures, In some cultures, like if you dream about poop, it means money. I've heard that somewhere. I don't really know where I've heard it. I know I've mentioned this before, but I think I got my culture wrong. Whatever. There are some cultures that believe if you dream about poop, it means money. I don't think it's real though. I'm not sure if it's real. Your mom told you something like that, so it's not just me. You single-handedly tangented into poop. I don't know how I did it. I'm not sure how we got here, but here we are. You know, some of my biggest nightmares are about poop. Hello, Lord Feast. Hello, beautiful Juwun. Hello, thank you. But some of my nightmares, I don't really dream about monsters. Like, monsters don't scare me, like, literally. I don't dream about ghosts because I don't dream about monsters because I'm the monster. I'm the biggest monster in my dream. So my dreams are not about monsters. My nightmares, I mean. My nightmares are not about monsters. My nightmares are about poop. Those are the worst nightmares. Those are worse than monsters. Even since I was a kid, there was something I realized a long time ago. That if you saw a monster in your dream, this is something you can take home with you. If there's one thing you want to take home with you from this stream, it's that if you see a monster in your dream, you need to remind yourself, oh, this is just a dream. If that is a monster, then think in your head, is this the real life? Or is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. What's next? I forgot. But anyway, if you see a monster, then you have to question your reality. And once you realize you're in a dream, then it's over. It's over. Once you realize you're in a dream, then you're good to go. You essentially have the Infinity Gauntlet. Is it old enough to sing Queen? Who? Queen is for everyone. Then again, I don't memorize the song. But once you realize you are dreaming, that is your Infinity Gauntlet. You are unstoppable. The problem with poop is that poop is part of reality. Poop is an everyday situation, so seeing poop does not signal to your brain, oh, I'm dreaming. I am just dreaming. We need more towels. That brings flashbacks. That brings flashbacks to even clogged toilets. Clogged toilets. Bismillah. Bismillah, no, we will not let you go. Let him go. We'll not let you go. Let him go. Those were yikes. But yeah, those are my nightmares. And speaking of work is also my nightmare. Like, a lot of my nightmares involve work. It's just crazy like that. Sometimes I dream like I was just finishing a shift, but then I realized I did not take care of a patient the whole shift. I did not do anything for that patient the whole shift. Didn't give their meds, didn't do anything, and now the shift is ending. I have done nothing. That's a recurring nightmare. It's pretty scary. It's never happened in real life, but it's so close to real life that sometimes you can't tell. June has to be led around the hospital on a leash. That's not how it works. They have what do you call those? Therapy dogs. They have therapy dogs for stuff like that. When's the last time you've seen a therapy dog? They've got ID badges. They go around the hospital like they're staff. I hope they're paid well. They just go around getting fed. And then... I'm not sure how that works. Do they get paid? Maybe they get paid treats. Not sure. That's weird. Anyway, I've been thinking for the longest time. The hospital didn't actually hire Juwun as a nurse. It is their therapy tiger boy and mascot. If I was like super rich, if I became friends with like Elon Musk or someone like that. Wait, give me a second. Excuse me. If I was like super rich, like Elon Musk level rich, I would open a nurse cafe. I know I've said this before, but this needs to go out into the universe. Someone needs to do this, and I think the biggest obstacle would probably be at least here in the United States, it would be the American Nurses Association. That would be the biggest hindrance to my dream. But if the laws of the land were to bend to my will, I would create a nurse cafe. It's like a maid cafe. But you have nurses. And it's pretty much like a hotel. I was close. It had 2 L side by side instead of 1. What is that? But instead of like a cafe, it will be like a hotel. Not a sus hotel, okay? Not a sus type of hotel. But it's like a hospital. It's like a hospital, but it's kind of like a hotel where you pay to be pampered by a nurse. Nothing sus, of course. Nothing sus, because these will be registered nurses. Like they have licenses and stuff. But you'll just get the nursing treatment. And of course you'll have top tier nurses. You won't have the cranky nurse. Oh, Arabic in the name of God. What is Arabic? Inshallah. Inshallah, mashallah. I don't know the difference. Open 24/7, yeah. It will be open 24/7. It's just like a hotel where you can come in and then you'll get pampered by a nurse. And my idea is like it will be for stuff like boo-boos. You have a boo-boo, you want someone to pamper you, or you're like hungover, and then you just want to spend the night, get hydrated, like IV fluids and stuff. And then it will be also like a cafe where you can order off the menu food and stuff. But on top of that, my idea, there will be like other therapies, like there will be a spa, there will be like acupuncture, a sauna, all of that stuff. But in addition to all of that, like on top of all of those things, you also have a nurse. Wouldn't that be fun? I think that would be fun. Only cafe in the world that's busiest is the graveyard shift. And I think, like, on top of all of that too, the nurses can get tips. Imagine that. Nurses getting tips. Of course it won't like, it'll be like a combination. And no insurance either, because insurance is gonna make things, it's not gonna work. Insurance is not gonna apply in this type of situation. It's more of an entertainment type of recreational activity. Like, imagine there'll also be a chiropractor, something like that. That would be like, if I'm super rich, I will be like, that's what I will do. And you will only have the best nurses, not the cranky nurses, not the. And my idea is that this will work so well, hopefully. Hopefully this will work so well that the hospitals will have to compete, and they will have to produce better nurses. And I think it'll raise everything up. It'll raise everything up. And like, since this is gonna be like a very niche type thing, it will be like kind of expensive. So nurses will make a lot of money here. So they can still work their full-time job, because I feel like there won't be a lot of patients, because this is gonna be like expensive. But over time, over time, you know, there will be competition, prices will come down, services will get better. And I think this will improve the healthcare situation. This will unironically monopolize the lab work. Yes, yes. There will be lab work there too. There will be lab work, and since you're getting pricked by the best prickers, we're the best prickers in the world, you might enjoy it. I don't know. There are people that have told me, you know, if drawing labs, if like going to the doctor get your labs drawn is like this. By this I mean me sticking them. they would get their labs drawn every day. We'll get more than the tip. Hospitals will just, that's my problem. My biggest obstacle would be the American Nurses Association and hospitals and stuff. They will probably, that's what I said, the laws. It's the laws of the land. The laws of the land are my biggest obstacle. So, unfortunately, that is the situation with the crony capitalism. That is America's version of capitalism, which is unfortunate. It's big and sad. It's very big sad, but that is the reality. We live in a crony capitalist society. So we need to fix that. I don't know how. I don't know how to fix it, but that is my biggest hurdle to get over, which is why Elon Musk, if you hear this message, that is my idea. Any sharks in the audience? Are there any Shark Tank? Any sharks want to give me 200 million Solaris? Just like the ADA giving me Mercury. What is the ADA? Dietary Association? I'm not sure. How did they give you mercury poisoning? I know the medical staff I deal with at the Pancration Club hate me because I'm losing weight at a safe rate without their plan. American Dental. Oh! Was it like an amalgam? What do you call those? Like the mercury and gold amalgam? They were using it like a cement. Yeah, it's some type of cement. It's an amalgam of mercury and gold, right? They don't do that anymore. That's crazy. But they did a lot of crazy things in the past. Things that is why I think, you know, a lot of people are doomers, unfortunately. But I am optimistic about the future. I you know, in my opinion, like the improvements we've made kind of outweigh the you know, we're not going like one step forward and two steps back. We're like more like going two steps forward and one step back. We're like the S&P 500. We are shooting for the moon, baby. Sad but true, there are a lot of boomers. Well, you know what they say, you know, the only way progress is made is when the previous generation goes kaput. That's not true for everyone though, but that's how progress works. We're taking like small steps forward. We are making progress. That's what I think. Now they use UV hardened polymer, yeah, but they never would have switched if it wasn't the mercury poisoning. I don't know. Wasn't that stuff expensive? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, it was a mercury and gold amalgam. Wasn't it a mercury and gold amalgam? So how much gold was in that thing? June Android when in the AI revolution. You know, a lot of people are threatened by AI, right? But I think well, that's just how progress works. Some people will lose their jobs, but I think it is like overhyped. That's not exact word, but a lot of people are dooming over AI replacing everyone, because I mean, what is the biggest AI that has been not exactly AI, but like automation. One of the biggest automation thing in like the history of automation. And I think it is autopilot. Isn't autopilot the biggest thing? I'm not sure when autopilot was invented. It must have been in the 80s or the 90s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but autopilot, you know, planes can pretty much drive themselves. They can drive themselves, they can land themselves. But pilots, you know, the demand for pilots has only increased. So I think it is something like that. You know, AI is not going to replace your job, but someone who knows AI will replace yours. Pretty much. AI poses a much larger threat than lost jobs. If one goes rogue and breaks free, I think I heard that in the news. Can't remember what the situation was. Stop nursing them to health then. The end is only as close as you let it. You have the power to change your situation. Very inspirational. But that is my view of the future. I think the future is a lot brighter than most people think. I mean, look, like, have you ever visited like a mansion from the early 1900s? The early, like, these people were like super rich, like the richest people in the 1900s. Sometimes their mansions are turned into museums. Sorry. Like, mansions have turned into like museums. And you visit these mansions and you would never want to live there. I would not want to live in this mansion. Have you seen their toilets? How do they live like this? But like the richest people, these were the richest people back in the day. And they were pissing in jugs. they had like a bucket that they would piss into, and these were the richest people. We are living like kings. Be an extremist like me. Live your life away from civilized. I don't know. I like living with civilization. Boomers are pretty bad too. I think the reason why boomers are bad is because they're plentiful, and unfortunately there are more tares than there are wheat. So since there's a lot of them, and the thing about boomers too is that they are very entitled. I mean, it's not good to generalize all of them. That they are all entitled, but a lot of them are. But that is not necessarily their fault. It's because the world catered to them. Everyone catered to the boomers. Like, they were always the biggest for the longest time. They were always the biggest audience, the biggest person to sell stuff to. So everyone catered to them. That's why the boomers are kind of entitled. Autopilot just maintains altitude and speed, but they can autopilot can, you know, planes can pretty much fly themselves. They can fly themselves and they can land themselves. They don't really need pilot input. The purpose of the pilot is just there to make that final human decision. There always is a pilot to like make the final human decision. Pilots don't fly planes anymore. You're a licensed pilot? You don't know what you're talking about? I don't know. This is what I've heard. We can look into it, but I don't know what kind of plane you're driving. But commercial planes nowadays just can fly themselves. You might be talking about a Cessna or something. But all commercial planes pretty much can fly themselves. The pilot is like the last person to push the button. I needed June to throw me around. Someone has to throw you around. Leaded gasoline noises. The future is a lot brighter when I'm being thrown out. Okay, that's good to know. That doesn't sound like the brightest future, but whatever. The first boomer was auto-corrected from doomer to boomer. Where was that? Either way, I'm Dunning-Kruger effect in action here. You don't get it. Okay, let me ask ChatGPT real quick here. Time to fact check myself. Okay, ChatGPT. Are most commercial airplanes able to fly and land themselves? Yes, most modern commercial airliners can technically fly and land themselves under the right conditions. I mean, the purpose of the pilot is just the pilot still has to do their job, obviously. But they're the final human decision. They're the ultimate person decision maker. A crash landing is still landing. The thing is that air travel is the most safe form of travel, is because everything is like coordinated and whatnot. There are mistakes here and there, but there are more accidents on the land than in the air. But everything has been like streamlined. So taking off, landing, all of that has been streamlined. So I'm pretty sure like 99% of flights all like lift off and land according to plan. I mean, not exactly 99%. But even 1% is not, like 1% margin of error is not good. But for the most part, all lift off and landing goes to plan, like kind of goes to plan. A 1% margin of error is not good. It might be even better than that. I'm not sure. But there have been some horrible accidents lately. Wasn't there one where a whole sports team got, there was like a military base, and then the helicopter and the plane crashed into each other. Not exactly sure what happened to that. I don't really follow the news. The safest, because that's why it is the safest form to autopilot, because the flight paths, all the flight paths are coordinated by computers. It's not like in the street where you've got lots of cars, and even if there's, you've got like, what is Tesla's auto driving deal? What is that called? I'm not sure what that's called. But even with that, imagine that in the air, and since there are airports or satellites or what have you, everything is coordinated. All plans are coordinated. All flight plans are coordinated. The route, they know exactly the route and everything in the sky. So that's why, like, autopiloting, whatever. Autopilot is like super easy. That's why I don't think like AI or automation is gonna cost people jobs, because people still need that last human. They need, ultimately, the last person, the person making the decision is not the computer but the human. That is my point. I'm not saying that. I'm not advocating that. Like, that is the opposite of my point. My whole point is that there will be a human at the end making the final decision. At the end of everything, there will be a human person pushing the button. And that's why I'm not afraid of AI. I mean, I'm kind of biased because AI is never going to replace me. Though, if you watched, what is the name of that movie? Is that Megan? Was that movie? It's not Megan. There was a movie where all the nurses are robots, pretty much. But I think like, would you feel safe when a robot is giving you meds and stuff? Robots don't have licenses, but the person operating the robot, this is more like an analogy. I don't think any robots will be giving meds anytime soon, but someone operating that robot will have a license. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon. As a person who's lived through multiple technological revolutions, every one of those makes at least 3 jobs for one. There you go. That's what I'm saying. The future is good. The future is bright, and people who are dooming all over the place. And you have people on both sides. This is not just on both sides, on all sides, left, right, up and down. Venereal disease rates will plummet because everyone is gonna practice. Who knows? But you know, I've thought about that too. Will eliminating venereal excuse me. It's impossible for everyone to practice abstinence, but you know, people will be safer. We have the technology. What is that? What is that thing? I can't remember exactly, but I remember someone said like if like we could have actually eliminated AIDS or something like that. But I don't know. Well, at least until herpes evolves to transfer. If it can travel via the internet, then all the furries are gonna all the furries are gonna get it. Just kidding, just kidding. That would be crazy though. It could check. I that's, you know, now that I've thought about it, I haven't seen someone with the chickenpox. I'm pretty sure it still goes around. It's only with kids, I think. Only kids are getting chickenpox nowadays. Wait, what do you mean nowadays? Everyone's since prehistory. It's only the kids. It's a childhood illness. Chickenpox is a childhood illness. But I've never seen someone with chickenpox. Most people get it young, so they're forever. It's a childhood illness. Didn't they have like pox parties? Yeah, we had pox parties back in the day. Back in the day, like in the 1800s. Someone got chickenpox, you gave it to everyone. Chickenpox is one of those diseases that are airborne. Actually, that's kind of... There are only a few diseases that are transmittable, like airborne, and chickenpox is one of those. Chickenpox, measles, tuberculosis, and COVID. But I think it's just COVID is like overhyped. But yeah, people treat COVID as a airborne disease. In adults, it's called shingles. Adults can probably get it, but it reactivates their shingles. Shingles is pretty much chickenpox. It's the same thing. When the chickenpox virus is attacked by the immune system, it hides in your nervous system. So when it gets reactivated, whatever exposure to the chickenpox or your immune system is weakened, that's why it resurfaces along certain areas, because it hides in the nervous system. That's why shingles is mostly in the back. You know, it hides in the spine and stuff like that. So that's where shingles usually breaks out. But shingles is chickenpox. It was overhyped. It was. Are there like hearings now? Dr. Fauci is also pleading the fifth, just like me. But Dr. Fauci seems to be in some trouble now. You know, that is messed up. I mean, he is pleading the fifth, so it sounds very sus when they're asking him, like, why did you coordinate with the Wuhan lab when you know that they don't have the proper facilities? Why did you do this to the Wuhan lab? He got pardoned? What in the world? What in the world? I'm not following the news. Wow, that's crazy. How is he getting away with this? But, you know, like, I remember they were saying, you know, it's a conspiracy theory. It was not created in a lab, and now there's a Wuhan lab. We know that there's a Wuhan lab that's creating the Wuhan virus. And now it's like it's getting proven. It's pretty much like in public opinion, I believe, like all the conspiracy theories back in 2019 are now fact in public opinion. It was created in a lab. People were eating bats or whatever. It was really sus. there's a CEO who got popped in the street. Oh, that's terrible too. It was an auto pen pardon, so it doesn't count. I'm not following the news, so I don't know what's going on. Oh, Sleepy Joe pardoned him. And a bunch of other peeps on the way out. That sucks. But they could just open a different case. I don't know how it works. But you know, he did some crimes against humanity. This was like the whole world got affected. Imagine creating a virus in a corner of the world and then spreading it so the whole world is affected. There are like millions of people that you are accountable for. That is terrible, but at least moving forward, I think we know not to like, what does that hantavirus deal? It didn't get the kind of hype COVID did, so I think we're kind of over that type of stuff. It's because evil people in power have purposely made our justice system slower and harder to punish real criminals. I think it was a deep state bioweapon to kill off boomers, really. You know, with all the conspiracy theories getting proven, I wouldn't be surprised if that turned out to be the case. The actions taken did more damage than the virus did. You know, speaking of nursing, this, you know, the overhyping of COVID, it led to some of the most disgusting things in nursing. I never witnessed them myself because I don't work in a nursing home, but nurses that have worked in the nursing home told me really, really terrible stories. They were telling me that patients were dying like pigs. And the nurses were afraid to touch the patients, and a lot of them were giving excuses. I have kids at home. I can't get this COVID. So they refused to take care of these patients. So they were just stewing in their own poop, literally. Stuck in their room, locked, because no one's gonna go in there. No one wants to get this super dreadful COVID disease. And nursing homes do not have the type of protection or like personal protective equipment, PPE. Like hospitals, nursing homes are not good places. That is true. But since they don't have the PPE that hospitals have, the staff will not take care of patients. They refused to take care of patients who had COVID. So they were just stewing in their own poop. And as described by a nurse telling me, they die like pigs. Your loved ones in the nursing homes were dying like pigs in their own poop. Which is horrible. But that's because there was a lot of fear-mongering, I think. I think of the fear-mongering was somewhat responsible for that. Also, another thing about that is that in the initial part of COVID, when it started, the CDC, or was it the WHO? It was the WHO. The WHO said you didn't need to mask. This is so stupid. This is so dumb. But they said you don't need to mask. This was at the start. This was at the very start. They said it's okay. You do not need to mask. And the reason they were saying this, I think someone explained later, is so that hospitals can save up, you know, hospitals can buy out all the masks and stuff. So there would be no panic buying of the masks. But some hospitals did not get the memo. Some hospitals did not get the memo. So they told their staff not to wear masks. This is so dumb. The mask didn't do anything. That's why hospitals have N95 masks. But the thing is the WHO was saying you do not need to wear masks. So here's how it works. If an infected patient wears a mask, the infected patient protects everyone around them. That's because their breath is not aerosolized. It is protected by the mask. It does not get aerosolized. Once it is aerosolized, that is when you need the N95 mask. But a level 3 is what I used when I was taking care of patients. A level 3. Putting a level 3 mask on a patient protected protected the staff around them, because then their breath does not get aerosolized, because their breath just gets stuck in the mask. Everyone else has to wear an N95 mask, but yeah, the stupid thing is that they were telling everyone not to buy masks, so hospitals did not wear masks. So the COVID was spreading in hospitals because the staff was not wearing masks. That's the thing. So that was another whoopsie by the WHO. There was some kind of miscommunication there. So people in hospitals were just spreading COVID to each other, since you didn't have to wear masks anyway. Apparently you didn't have to wear masks. So COVID just got spread around in hospitals. I remember I had a coworker. This is so crazy. I remember this vividly. She got in trouble because she wore a mask. And this makes absolutely no sense. But she got in trouble. I tell you, management does not care. Management does not care about you. The hospital does not care about you. Something I learned as a nurse is that, loyalty is not rewarded in a hospital. I think this applies in a lot of industries too, but loyalty is not rewarded. Management just wanna suck up to the higher ups, so they'll just follow whatever they say. My advice for nurses who just started: once you get some experience, leave your first hospital. Do not be loyal to your first hospital. Once you've got your experience, leave. Look for a different hospital, and make sure they pay like the market rate, because your hospital does not want to raise your wages to market rate. Anyway, that's a different topic though. The masks the public had were not N95, yeah. But like putting a level 3 or even a level 1 mask. Putting a level 1 mask on a patient prevents their breath from getting aerosolized, because it does not spread. The droplets that come out of their mouth are caught by the mask, and it does not get the chance to aerosolize. That is what the N95 masks protect you from, the aerosolized spray. If only sunlight therapy wasn't nuked, we'd have open-air hospital architecture that would have addressed all of this. I've never worked with sunlight therapy. That must have been like way back in the day while I was still not a nurse and living in the gutters of the streets, eating stranglers and whatnot. I've never done sunlight. That's something I'm not familiar with. Didn't even know that they used to do that. But that's because even though I have been around for hundreds of thousands of years, I've only been a nurse for a few years. The science is sound: increased vitamin D, which boosts testosterone, improving immune response. So that's what sunning is. Have you ever seen that health trend where people like flash their balls at the sun? There were people literally flashing their balls at the sun. I'm pretty sure the entity in the sun was not pleased. But they were flashing their balls at the sun to boost their testosterone. I think they got rid of heliotherapy in the late 1800s. Really? Was it too expensive? Based sunning your balls. There were a lot of crazy health trends. Have you ever heard of the one where people drink their piss? There was a piss drinking health trend, I don't know, not more than 10 years ago. There were people drinking their pee for health benefits or whatnot. Which, it's not good. I remember watching this show, Dual Survivor, where they usually pair like a hippie. They pair a hippie type survivor with a military type survivor. And the hippie, whose name was Cody, and the military guy whose name was John or something, Titus, I can't remember. But they were going out in the desert, and then the military guy said, "I can't do this anymore. I have to drink my piss." It was not the hippie guy. It was not the hippie guy who drank his piss, but the military guy. And the hippie guy told him, if you survive, you will have survived in spite of what you did, not because of what you did. But the military guy drank his piss. He said, I need the mental, it's the mental benefits of being hydrated. But no, drinking a piss is not good. It's the stuff your body's trying to get rid of. Why are you putting it back? Although, have you seen gorillas? Gorillas eat their own poop. But again, they're gorillas. Again, they're gorillas. They're not humans, but gorillas eat their own poop. That is so disgusting. But that just shows how inefficient their digestive process is. Gorillas are vegetarians or vegans. Chimpanzees are vegetarians, but gorillas are vegans. Gorillas are vegans, and apparently there's still some nutrients after everything passes through their digestive system, so they throw it back in. Cows don't exactly do the same thing, but that's what chewing the cud is, right? They're basically they keep on chewing what's in their stomach. Like, they vomit it out and they chew it and they swallow it again. Drinking pee was a thing back in Korea and Japan in my grandpa's day. That was one of the craziest. But I think cows have 4 chambers. Yeah. That's what chewing the cud is. They regurgitate and they chew it, whatever. But the weirdest, not exactly the weirdest, but I think it's even crazier than drinking pee. Crazier than drinking pee was high meat. Are you familiar with high meat? There was something like 10 years ago. It must have been 10 years ago now. Or less than 10 years ago. But high meat. That was the craziest deal. It is not raw meat. It is worse than raw meat because it is rotten meat. It is literally rotten meat. Of course, it's not like... Gorilla, they may be vegan, doesn't mean they can still follow you with the launcher. But because, like, my point was that they were vegan. their digestive system does not completely like extract all the nutrients from their diet, so they have to throw back. They have to throw it back in their mouth after it comes out. Imagine getting to 500 pounds of pure muscle just sitting around in the forest and eating leaves all day. But that's how much they have to eat to get that, to get their nutrients. But even so, it's not very efficient. They actually have to eat their poop to get it digested again. But anyway, high meat. High meat is literally like a rotting food. They take their meat and they put it in jars and they let it sit in the warmth or whatever. They just let it decompose. It's not sauerkraut, that's fermented. Fermented, I guess, is also technically rotten, but high meat is like rotting. It's like rotten meat. They put it in jars and they let the jar just sit there for like months. Have you ever seen high meat? This is gonna become a react stream. I swear this is gonna turn into a react stream. We are not e-begging. Doesn't look like we're e-begging tonight. I want a video from like 10 years ago. Maybe this one. A lot of these guys are Norwegian for some reason. I need to start e-begging. We'll look at some high meat videos and then we'll start e-begging. Oh, that is a gamer window. Okay, this one. High meat. I'm not sure if this is the video, but was it ℡𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗? ℡𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗. Please pronounce it. 1.5-year-old rotten chicken. 8-month-old veal brain. This guy was very popular like 8 years ago. 1 year rotten meat. Here, eating a rotten veal liver and heart. Okay, isn't that disgusting? 1.5, that seems to be the oldest. So let's look at this.
What's up, everybody? I haven't done a video like this in a while. I'm gonna eat over 1.5 years old chicken. I made it in winter 2018. It's corn-fed.
Is this rotten meat? Characteristic
I
puffy
haven't aired
face.
it in 2 months now. Alright. Will be fun.
Will be fun.
Yeah.
Let's look at his channel. Is he still alive? Why am I going to live? Well, his last video is 10 months ago. He was like a super anti-vegan guy. Same as a woman who films herself eating raw chicken. This guy was like a super anti-vegan dude back in the day. What's up? This is 1 year ago. So who knows if he's still alive.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Still alive, at least a year ago.
I didn't think that...
But I mean, I think he's alive in spite of what he was doing. I'm not sure how, you know, crocodiles and bears, they eat like rotting meat. So I guess technically people can. He's alive. Yeah, they eat fermented fish, but this is not fermented, this is rotted. So I'm familiar with their fermented fish, lutefisk. Or what do you call that? The shark deal. What is their shark food again? Like they ferment Greenland shark. I'm not sure what it's called, but they ferment Greenland shark, and I'm pretty sure that thing stinks. But what was that fermented Greenland deal? There are reasons men discovered fire. Animals are built different to handle rotten meat. This guy's built different. Imagine if that guy came to your hospital with a bowel blockage. But fermented is different from rotten. Fermented, there are lots of fermented stuff. You've got, you know, technically Worcestershire. Worcestershire sauce is fermented fish. And a bunch of other things. Soy sauce is fermented soy. And a bunch of things are fermented. But rotten meat is a whole different deal. Look at this. He lets it rot for. He puts it in a jar. Does he have instructions? But he just puts it in a jar and he leaves it there for a year. Just to rot. Wow, I'm recommended my own video. That's crazy. He's just dumb rosterami. What is that fermented? Yeah, fermented Greenland shark. This thing. The Nordic people, like Scandinavian people, I guess they have the ideal weather. They have their ideal weather to ferment stuff. Yes, fermenting is different from rotting. The guy was like literally eating rotten stuff. Even cavemen learned how to grill meat. Worcestershire sauce tastes amazing. Yeah, but it is like fermented fish, right? Worcestershire. Who knows how to spell this thing? It is fermented fish. Yeah, it is fermented fish. Look at that. Internet! I won't be able to e-bag. If my internet is this slow, how am I supposed to e-bag? But it is fermented fish. Look at that. That's where W sauce comes from. Excuse me. Juwun versus Kara, the battle of the remaining brain cell. What do you mean? Is Kara alive? Why am I not getting notifications from Kara? I don't see any lives. Why is your internet so bad? I don't know. I think I just need to change my Ethernet cable. I should probably change my Ethernet cable. Maybe it's starting to degrade. Who knows? My phone is great though. Well, I do live in the boonies. So I could probably move out of the boonies. I especially like it on homemade beef sausage patties that my mom makes. Fry sauce, burger sauce, whatever it's called. I put some W sauce on that thing. Okay. Back here, but yeah, that is fermented. Fermented is different from rotten meat. And the guy was literally eating rotten meat. The raw meat stuff too, that was kind of crazy. I mean, I guess raw meat is possible, but the nutrient profile is better. Like, cooked meat has more, I don't know, what's a proper term? Bioavailability. I think that's the correct term. All right, should we start e-bagging now? Maybe it's time to start e-bagging. Let's see if we can e-bag properly here. So this is dude. You know, we should find a topic and just I don't know, talk about the topic, but the topic right now was dude. I mean, the stream is about dude. She literally baked them, so it really gets in it, so it's more than just on it. We eat it with mashed potatoes, cream corn, and Bush's baked beans. ℙ𝕒𝕒𝕟𝕒. Okay, let's start the e-bagging. I wonder if they're rich people. A lot less sandworms than I remember. David Blaine apparently managed to make himself immune to salmonella through enough training to do that frog regurgitating trick. Really? David Blaine was a crazy guy. Juwun's waistline one of these days. What's that supposed to mean? Baked them in it, so I don't know how that happened. Baked in Worcestershire sauce. How does that work? Jude wants the frogs to be gay. I am on Alex Jones' side of that situation. You know, Alex Jones is a crazy person. Like I am pretty sure, I am relatively sure that most of that is just a character. He can't literally believe everything he's saying, but he is very entertaining. All right, let's see. I wasn't exactly sure if the thing with like just chatting streams, I would like to do a lot of just chatting, but sometimes I'm not sure if there will be enough people to chat with, you know. Since I have been gone for a while, I wasn't sure there would be enough people to chat with. So that's where the idea was to do a gaming stream. But I would love just to do just chatting streams, but then I really don't know if people will show up. So thank you for showing up. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. He's a funny guy. I mean, a lot of the conspiracy theories, we do remember his crazy conspiracies that ended up right, but he had a bunch of conspiracy theories that were not right either. He's upfront about one thing. He is retarded. That is true. He did admit to being retarded. She hasn't done it in a while, sadly, but either she puts the W sauce in first and the sauce, or the reverse, and then puts them in the oven. Doesn't she, what is this? Marinate. What is it? Beef sausage. She could have mixed it in with the ground beef. Or marinated them. I don't know. I'm not sure, but you know, W sauce is really good. I grew up in the tropics, so, and W sauce was not very popular where I'm from, but for some reason we always had W sauce. And that tasted good with fried fish. Fried like tropical fish. So sometimes I would eat it with a fried tropical fish, but always the soy sauce was always better. W sauce wasn't bad though, but for tropical fish, you know, Asian dishes, soy sauce is usually always better. Soy sauce is the... Was it a formerly British? No, it was not. Oh, probably. Probably, you know, rule, Britannia rule. What is that? How do you sing that song? Rule, Britannia rule. Britain was the biggest empire. Britain was the biggest empire in the history of forever, so pretty much Britain was everywhere. That's probably how it got there. I was born and raised in Texas, never left. W means winning. It has to be one of the ingredients for the winningest sauces in barbecue history. Only good thing to come out of England is already double tap. I have no idea. Aldred double tap anywhere. I would say the US. The US is the best thing that came out of England. You know, the UK is kind of sad right now, you know. It's kind of sad what's going on in the UK, but you know, you have to have some civic pride, some pride of your own country. Let's listen to Rule Britannia Rule real quick here. Rule Britannia. Don't copyright me, Britain. Okay, this is Canada. This video is from Canada. Okay. Okay, Canada, this is for you. I've forgotten what this sounds like. I need to refresh my memory. Oh, let's switch window. Why am I getting recommended my own video? Can't even find Canada on a map. Yeah, what's north of America again? America V2. Oh, there. Rule, Britannia! Britannia rules the waves. Never, 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 never shall... I think I said never too many times. The next state to join. So that's where that face comes from. I've always seen this laughing British guy. What is this movie? Am I getting copyright struck for watching this? Anyway, that's enough. That was what I was looking for. I was trying to get the rule, Britannia, Britannia rule, the Patriot. Wasn't that a Mel Gibson movie? The British were the bad guy in that movie. So it was it's the Mel Gibson movie. The British were the bad guys. Isn't that based on a true story? Future North Dakota. It would be future North South Dakota, because North Dakota is just South Dakota. Isn't South Dakota more popular than North Dakota? We know England's true national anthem, the Wallace and Gromit theme. No! England's true national anthem is what's the name of that song? I've already forgotten the song. It is the Killers. What is that song? Dang, I forgot it. I like that song. I have to look it up. Mr. Brightside. How did I forget? Mr. Brightside. Mr. Brightside is the national anthem of Britain, of the UK, of England. New old England. Look, I get you Americans want to join because we have better food and some actual trees, but I think America is better food. I don't know. I'm not sure how diverse your cuisine is, but you know, we have Italian food. We have Italian, we have Chinese, we have Thai, we have, you know, Cajun stuff in the South. Do you know what that was a reference to? What is a reference what? Future North Dakota. America doesn't have food. They have chemical paste you call cheese. Just because there is such a thing as American cheese doesn't mean all cheese is American cheese. Like, we have lots of, imported cheese. Like, we have Thai food, we have I don't even like Thai food. The thing is, I don't like Asian food. I don't have Asian food. If I want to eat, I want a steak. I want a steak. I want burgers. I want barbecue. Pizza. Not Chinese food. I'm kind of tired of Chinese food. Meet the Robinsons was an amazing Disney movie. You know, I kind of remember Meet the Robinsons. I can't exactly tell you what the plot was. Steal Juwun's burger. It's just subpar cheddar that is so bad most countries in the world won't legally sell what American cheese. I don't even know what American cheese is. Some American cheese is not actual cheese. But who cares? It tastes good. That's all that matters. That's why I love burgers. I love all burgers, even the McDonald's burger. Believe it or not, I love McDonald's burger. Not exactly love, but I don't mind. I don't mind it. There was a time though. There was a time where McDonald's had like, I think gourmet burgers. They had like, I can't even remember what their gourmet burgers were, but those were good. This was a long time ago. A long time ago. Yeah, I'm not sure if they plan on bringing them back, but they had Swiss cheese. They had a grilled mushroom Swiss cheese burger. That was one of their favorite burgers. My favorite burgers before of McDonald's. I don't know if they're gonna bring it back. Let me make sure. McDonald's burger. It was an Angus, yeah. It was McDonald's mushroom and Swiss burger. But it's gone. It was 2009 to 2013. It was very temporary. That was a good burger. Most American food is so toxic the human body can't handle it legally to be sold in the world. The world is just jealous. The world is just jealous of America. America don't care. Treasure Planet and Atlantis, The Lost Empire was peak Disney. Yes. Treasure Planet. What is the name of that song? That song was very iconic. And something like goes like that. Atlantis, you know, the thing is, animated, like Disney animations, actual animations were so good. Now everything is just 3D. It was a novelty back when Bug's Life, when Toy Story came out, but now it's everywhere. No one does animations anymore. But animations were so good. Atlantis is so underrated. Atlantis was very good. It has the spirit of exploration. Atlantis and Treasure Planet. And I know, like, what is the name of that movie? I'm spacing out. As usual, Anastasia. Anastasia was not Disney, but Anastasia was really good too. Animated movies were so good. And Titan AE. I don't even remember the plot of Titan AE, but I like that movie too. That was another animated movie. That's anti-American propaganda. That is true. Everyone thinks about America, but America only thinks about America. That is America for you. It's because we don't want to ingest poison. Americans don't care. We eat what we want to eat. The world came for the World Cup and left raving how good America's food. There you go. There you go. USA. 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 Even the Chinese come to America to eat Chinese food. That is how great American food is. I love both 2D and 3D animated movies, but we need more 2D animated movies. A lot of the movies nowadays are just 3D and remakes of old 2D movies. I need to cheer a Juwun for real, for real. It's not poison though. That's why isn't that the Make America Healthy Again movement? They're getting rid of the poison stuff. Red 40 dyes, literal poison. Well, it's not working. But isn't that what's his name? The RD. I was gonna say RDJ, but the Kennedy guy. Didn't he get rid of that? Probably got rid of it. But that was the Make America Healthy Again movement. They got rid of a bunch of stuff. But you know what? That is the price of freedom. You know, people are allowed to be dumb. They're allowed to be dumb and free. I'd rather have the freedom to put whatever in our mouth than have the government tell me what to do. and have the government tell me to eat the bugs. I will not eat the bugs. Thank you very much. Didn't do a good job then, as it's still in your Skittles. I wouldn't know because I don't eat Skittles. I don't read the label. I don't really believe everything RFK Jr. says, but he's right about some stuff and wrong about some other stuff. The thing is, it's freedom. I think that is the most important. That's the most important part. People should be free. In a perfect world. You know, the thing about libertarianism is that it is admittedly utopian. I would consider myself a libertarian, but again, libertarianism is utopian. Like, in a perfect world, there would be no borders. I am for that. I am for no borders, no tariffs, and all of that. But that is utopian. Again, that is utopian. So that would be okay in a perfect world, but this is not. This is not a perfect world. Raw milk, that is my platform. If I were to run for office, my platform would be the raw milk platform. Raw milk and home butchered meats, unless it's something that's actually objectively immoral. Like I mean, libertarian. It would be the non-aggression. The non-aggression principle. As long as you're not aggressing other people's principles, that is okay. I will keep the borders. Look at Spain right now. It's bad. That's a thing. That's a thing, you know. Libertarianism is utopian. If it were a perfect world, there would be no borders, but it is not a perfect world. But that is my opinion on the matter. Like, free trade between everyone, that would be good. That would be great. But again, you know, China's stealing stuff. Like, admittedly, China is like just stealing. Literally stealing intellectual property. That is so crazy. The reason why you can't manufacture anything in the United States is because China is making it so cheap to manufacture. But too many primitives. But yeah, China just manufactures everything and they just steal it. So they steal the patent. They steal the, not exactly the patents, but the intellectual property. So it's not exactly fair. So I would have to sacrifice. I would sacrifice my ideals. You know, put tariffs on China or whatever. You know, they're stealing our stuff. It is almost impossible to manufacture stuff in the United States because of what China is doing. There's just some things that are inherently aggressive. Yeah. So those are the stuff that is not good. There's a reason why entire provinces won't allow Chinese products into them now. Really? But that's the thing. One of the channels I follow is called Smarter Every Day. Smarter Every Day. And recently, he has been trying to produce a very simple scrub, a grill scrub. You know, a scrub for a grill. Because all the other the grill scrubs on the market are not good. You know, pieces of it break off. It gets lodged into your meat, and then people eat that stuff, and it gets into their stomach or their intestines, and it punctures your intestines, and it leads to a lot of problems. So he was trying to invent a grill scrub that doesn't do that. And he is discovering how difficult it is. It's super difficult to make it 100% in the United States. A lot of products that claim to be made in the United States are not actually made in the United States. So he's trying to do it that way, and it's very difficult. Funny thing is, if you want the equivalent quality product, Chinese products aren't really any cheaper. Really. But yeah, that's what the video was. He did mention the reason why is because China. And this guy's not biased. I don't think he's like politically biased or whatever. He just wants to make a better grill scrubber. And it's proving to be very difficult. I wouldn't really work for free. If I work, like, make something, people want People want, I won't give it away for free. That's how it works. For example, if I were a farmer, if I gave away all my food, my family would starve. That's why it's kind of hard for me to believe right now. It's kind of crazy for me thinking about how people are actively advocating for socialism. I don't want to really be political, but I don't know if there's socialists in chat right now, but socialism does not make sense, because you've had those school projects in college. I'm pretty sure everyone's experienced this. But if it was a group project, it's usually one person doing all the work. One person does all the work and everyone takes the credit for it. If you were to expand that to like a bigger countrywide version of that, you know, people will start thinking, you know, I mean, I'm still getting stuff even if I don't work, so why should I work? Because they think it will work this time, it never does. I just don't get how it gets to that point. I mean, I did, you know, when I was in college, I think everyone who goes, I think it is college. Long story short, it is college. Because when I was in college, they did let us watch a bunch of, what's his name? Michael Moore. Is it Michael Moore? Michael Moore documentaries. And especially that one called Sicko. Anyway, Michael Moore documentaries, I think they're just like big propaganda pieces. But then the thing is, after you leave college and you come into the real world, you're confronted with reality, and it just does not work in reality. I used to be a socialist communist back then before I turned 18. I think it is college. It really is college. But when you grow up and leave college and you're confronted with the real world, you realize this is not gonna work. Here, there's a warrant for Michael Moore's arrest in Alberta. Was it because of Sicko? Schools are captured, hence why they're breeding grounds for these types. You know what's the biggest tragedy? It's that because conservatives abandoned academia. I guess conservatives were, you know, to balance things out, if there were more conservatives in colleges, it would be a better situation. But conservatives just left colleges. Like just the same way that conservatives have left Hollywood. There was no system of checks and balances in college or in academia, or they were pushed out. They should have stood their ground. A lot of conservatives, unfortunately, a lot of conservatism is defeatist. You know, Hollywood's liberal. We'll let them have it. Academia's liberal. Let's let them have the colleges. You know, those colleges that we spent hundreds of years building. We're just gonna let the liberals take over those colleges with a rich 100-year, 200-year history. I think it's more that school is just obsolete at this point. That is true. You know, college is a scam. That's another problem. You know, colleges are pretty much daycare centers. They just baby everyone. The tuition fee, the reason why student loans are so big is because you're paying for the comfort of college. It's no longer a place where you learn how to, or they prepare you for real life, but it's a place where you're babied. They treat you like a baby the whole time you're in college, and that is expensive. You know, a lot of their facilities. Like, I remember hearing that they had like slides and pools and water sports and whatever. But yeah, college is pretty much obsolete. You can make a lot of money in doing the trades. That's a word, trades. You can make six figures doing trades. You don't need a college degree for that. They purposely dumbed our education system down and brainwashed. Yeah, they made the barrier of entry. They made the barrier of entry very low. Unfortunately for the blacks. They made the barrier of entry really low, and they didn't just fit like that. Yeah, they were racist against the Asians. They were racist against the Asians, and they made the barrier of entry low, very low for the blacks, and it really hasn't helped. Really hasn't helped their communities. I think, but again, trades are a lot better at this point. You know, you don't have to spend 4 years for a useless diploma, which you will end up taking to McDonald's. Instead, you can work immediately and earn 6 figures. They were pushed out. They can't. Juwun conservative views get them fired. Then stand your ground, fight. But I feel like that's the defeatist attitude. They were getting sued. They were getting pushed out. So they just surrendered. Imagine if the 4 founders. If the country's 4 founders did the same thing when the British said, no, we are coming to take your taxes, and the US said, okay, we'll just not fight back. That's the thing. They should have stood their ground. Again, I'm not in their boots. I don't know how hard it was, but they should have stood their ground. Either way, colleges are useless today. That's because the rhinos infiltrated us in the 70s, saying they changed for the better, like the Bushes. It's really hard to trust like these dynasties, you know, political dynasties. But they have the biggest names, so they get the most recognition. Imagine they thought that Jeb Bush was gonna win. I'm pretty sure. This is a conspiracy, I believe. But they were planning on Jeb Bush versus Clinton. It was gonna either be Jeb Bush or Clinton, but Trump was just a crazy person. He was a crazy person in the media. He was getting free advertising from the media. And that's how he won. They were really not planning on that. They were not planning that Trump was gonna win. Which is why he ended up winning. They didn't really have the systems. They probably had the systems in place, but they just did not activate the systems because they were very confident he was not gonna win. He was the wild card. They were really expecting either Jeb. I'm gonna have to change the title of the stream. But it was either gonna be Jeb or Clinton, but then Trump just steamrolled the both of them. And so they were more prepared the next time. They were I'm 100% sure there was something underhanded going on there. That was funny when Jeb just came out of nowhere speaking fluent Spanish. Did that really happen? See, I wasn't really following politics. It was just very funny. I know I did not like Trump, but I did not like Trump because of his politics. I did not like Trump because of what I knew about him from The Apprentice. He seemed like a scummy human being. And so when people were hating on Trump, I understood it. Why they didn't like Trump, but you know, the more exposure he got, you know, the more he got humanized. And I think that was one of their biggest mistakes, is that they just gave him free publicity, you know, and because of that, it humanized him. It humanized Trump, and that's how he won. And the 2020 election, this might be a conspiracy. YouTube might ding this, but I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% sure there was something underhanded going on there, because they were ready this time. They were ready. It was Joe's time. You know, Joe's been in the government since when? The 1950s? Who knows? It was his turn. Very few lefties that switch from left to right are actually good people. So far, only Trump and Tulsi Gabbard turned out to be good fully. I don't know. I don't really follow him. I've even forgotten about Tulsi Gabbard. But yeah, she was a Democrat, right? It's funny because Trump was a Democrat most of his life. Spent a long time in politics prior to this. Yeah, from what I understand, that he was a Democrat. He was like super against what Bush was doing or something like that. That was all just for show, really, on The Apprentice. But that's why I didn't like him. That's why I didn't like him, the stuff he did on the Apprentice. He seemed like to be a scummy person. But the more exposure he got, the more it humanized him. What is the stream? When am I gonna start e-bagging? I should change the title of the stream. He was brainwashed from birth by his family to think the left was good. I don't know much about... I can only speculate. I don't know much about his history. But he, you know... Here's the thing. I think him losing in 2020 was actually good for him. And not in the sense that it was good for him for his re-election or whatever, but I think it was good for his ego. Here's the thing. I think Trump is a very egotistic person. I think we can all admit that he is full of himself. It made the other guys look bad. I think Trump is like a very egotistic person, and his loss in 2020 was kind of good for him because you know what, a lot of presidents after their like they get 2 terms and they just disappear. They just disappear into the background. But after Trump lost in 2020, people kept on talking about him. He was just like this ominous figure looming in the distance. He might return, you know, Mr. H-Dog, literal Hitler H-Dog, looming over the horizon. He may have lost this election, but he's still there. And people never stopped talking about him. So that was 4 extra years. 4 extra years of his shadow looming over the horizon. People were still crazy over him. Like 4 years, he was not president. 4 years, he was not president, but people kept on talking about him. I think that must have stroked his ego. And then he wins. He wins in 2024. And so he technically has 3 terms. I feel like Trump, technically, you know, he's been in office for 3 terms. Joe Biden might have been president, but people were still saying, you know, Trump is my president. People on the right were saying, Trump is my president. People on the left were still talking about him. He was still president, technically. Joe Biden may have been president in name, but the spirit of Trump was still looming over the horizon. Wasn't his grandfather a renowned MIT physicist? Really? I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Same thing went for JFK Sr. and RFK Sr., which is when they woke up. Really? Which is why they woke up, which is why they assassinated them. Wasn't it the CIA? Didn't the CIA do that? Joe was busy taking 4-year nap and rambling. You know what, people? I don't hate Joe Biden. I literally do not hate Joe Biden. He was a funny president. I'm not gonna lie. Probably wasn't good for the country, but it was good for the memes. You do? You hate Joe Biden? He was a very funny guy. He just rambled on nonsense, like absolute nonsense. Like he would say, I'm gonna make this clear. Listen to me, I'm gonna say something very clear. And the next words that would come out of his mouth make 0 sense. He was absolutely demented. And there's a very famous video of him handing over, not exactly handing over, but welcoming Trump to the presidency after Trump won. He had the biggest smile on his face. He was so happy. Joe Biden was so happy that Trump beat Kamala. After Kamala betrayed Joe Biden, he was so happy to hand over Trump the presidency. That man was very happy. You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me he was not happy to hand over Trump the presidency. I'm not sure he knew where he was. Yeah, working for the deep state. Glad I got the gamer subs tub before the government made them remove Joe's face from the tub. Really? I hate Joe Biden actually. Literally less than children in the news footage. He does a lot of creepy things. Yeah. Probably when if he was younger, I would fault him for doing those things. He's just old and crazy. I have no idea how we got an old crazy person into the office in the year of our Lord 2020. But that was a hoot. That was funny. Probably not good for the country, probably not good for the economy, but it was good for the memes. He just didn't know. He just did not know where he was. I have fun listening to compilations of his rants. They make zero sense. You can try to understand what he's saying. You will not understand what he's saying. He is speaking in 4 dimensions, and one of those dimensions is dementia. He was a funny guy. And what is funnier were the guys who were propping him up like he's some kind of genius. Like he's mentally sound, It's just like that video. It's just like the video of the news reporter saying peaceful protest. They were saying he was the guy was saying it's a peaceful protest. Meanwhile, behind him, the world is on fire. It's just like that with Joe Biden. They were saying this guy is mentally competent. He's like a super genius. All the while, he's stumbling up the stairs to Air Force One. He is saying the most nonsense stuff. And then people saying he's mentally competent. He's falling off bikes. And then all the while, people are saying this is he is mentally competent. I remember there was an interview where the interviewer asked him, "Do you think you're mentally sound for this job or whatever?" And Joe Biden says yes. And the next sentence that comes out of his mouth proves that he's not mentally competent for the job. But they just run with it. They just let it be, which is crazy. There was even a conspiracy theory. He was a PR nightmare, which was very fun. Okay, we are laughing at the behest of the country, but I think it was funny. And what was I about to say? I forgot what I was about to say. Where we're going, we don't need sequential reasoning. He just does nonsense. I think this was a stream for Juwun to debut as a political VTuber. I don't think I would make a good political VTuber. My politics is kind of milquetoast. I fall in the middle. Like I said, I'm libertarian. For me, I would have the borders opened. Raw milk legalized. But then again, like I said, this is not a perfect world. Probably won't be good to open the borders. Probably won't be good to open the border because, it's not fair. It's not fair, we're doing a good job here and then we're just gonna let in people who are not doing a good job over there. Can't let them in our country. They're violating the non-aggression principle by doing bad stuff over there. But like I said, libertarianism is utopian. ultimately you cannot be like pure libertarian, because if you're a pure libertarian, it is like ultimately utopian. It'll only work in a perfect world. It's not like communism. People say communism is utopian, like communism would work in a perfect world. I don't think communism will work, period. If communism exists, it would not be a perfect world. But in a perfect world, everyone would be libertarian, is my opinion. A perfect world everyone would be libertarian, but you cannot have a perfect world with communism, is my opinion on the matter. So I will make compromises, but again, my politics are very milquetoast. Very middle, like kind of middle of the road. I would say yeah, probably. I am not a political tuber. I don't think I am equipped. I don't think I'm equipped to be a political YouTuber, but when you think about it, there are dumb people out there like Hassan Piker that is doing politics. So who knows? You know, it's not like IQ is. It's not like IQ is a requirement to be a political YouTuber. But I think the thing about politics is that it is inherently tribal. It tends to push people. It tends to push people apart. Like one side wants you to hate the other side wants you to hate the other. I think it's okay to not hate each other. Beep. Hello, Glanker. Oh, that was my phone. That was my phone beeping. Sorry about that. I think that Palpatine guy is up to some shady stuff. Is Palpatine still alive? I don't know what's going on anymore. I never did. Okay, are we gonna start e-begging now? My goodness, this is not an e-begging. This is supposed to be an e-begging stream. How did we get here? I do like the back and forth, the just chatting aspect, but this stream was supposed to be an e-begging stream. The problem is, like I said earlier, sometimes I feel like if I were to do a just chatting stream, it would be nice to go back and forth with people, but you never know if there'll be enough people to go back and forth with. I used to think like that, but they want you dead. I had someone literally try to cancel me over a mid-take. That is true, you know, the whole Charlie Kirk situation. I think that, you know, yeah, it's... one side is definitely more hateful than the other. There's no doubt in my mind that one side is really, for whatever reason, really hateful. They brought him back so they could just copy the original trilogy, and they changed directors twice. Yeah. I have Fumu pictures and Umar. Yay! Fumos of who? But that was very shocking, really, because, you know, Charlie Kirk had some of the most mid takes, really. Mostly Serdo. Yeah, that was very shocking, because if you wanted an extremist, there were so many other people out there. I don't play Uma. I don't play Uma, but yeah, you know, his takes were nowhere controversial, really. I really can't think of anything he said that was controversial. People tried to make him look like a racist or something, but if he wanted to be a racist, there were more racist people out there. But then, yeah, that was very, very, very tragic. I can't even tell you where I was, what had happened. The Charlie Kirk assassination, since, you know, I didn't really live through the consequences of 9/11. But the Charlie Kirk assassination was pretty much my 9/11. I can tell you where I was, what I was doing, what was going on when I heard it. It was very shocking. You know, Trump getting assassination attempted. It's not very surprising. People have been demonizing him for a long time. But Charlie Kirk was nowhere controversial. Nowhere near as controversial. Yeah, party of peace and love. Hippies. Were the hippies super violent? That is crazy. Didn't he say kids should be forced to watch public? I don't know. I'm not sure if he said those stuff, but all the clips I've seen of him, because I've watched his clips. Like I've admitted before that I'm Christian. I am Christian, so I watched some of his contents, which are, he was very outspoken Christian, and a lot of his takes were Christian. So I did see a lot of his stuff, and they were very mild. They're crazier, not exactly crazier, but there are people further to the right than him. Sun Piker's both dumb and evil. Yeah, you know, the mouth thing that he just did recently. It is literally like wearing an SS uniform. Imagine cosplaying Hitler and being proud of that. Hippies were worse than Nazis? I don't know. I'm not familiar with the hippies, so I can't really say. The far left was really violent in the 60s and 70s. Oh, really? Hippies have a long history of jumping to violence unprovoked. Well, they were on drugs. That's why. When off camera, hippies were really violent. Oh, really? Well, they did mess up their brains. I wouldn't be surprised with their association with the drugs. They must have messed up their brains and stuff. Bombings and shootings, really? I mean, the drugs probably contributed to that. All the Mary Jane. Weakening your inhibitions. Son and his dog torture. It's so crazy that people still support him after that. Some people are just really like tribalistic, stuck in their ways. I get you want to blame the drugs, but at a point, I'm not saying that they were under the influence. I'm saying that the drugs messed up their system, probably. Not so fun fact. The Charlie Manson cult. Oh yeah, those were hippies. Yeah, they were definitely hippies. I remember that scene from the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Those are hippies. Okay. Kind of crazy. Because they're depicted as peace and love. That is one of the hippie symbols, you know. The peace symbol. They wanted to spark a race war. Really? I need to look into that. Because they do like meme or like associate the hippies with wanting peace, you know, putting a flower in a gun. Wait, that's Michael Jackson. But you know, that's what like hippies, flower childs are usually depicted. That was the whole point of what Manson was doing. Oh, really? That was mainly when the cameras were on. Okay. I guess that's what the media wanted them to look like. It worked. If that was the goal, then it worked. You know, your image of the hippie was like a chill person, like a chill guy. Wouldn't hurt a fly. Good propaganda. That is true. It worked. If that was the intention and they were really violent, then whatever they did worked. I was watching a video of Brandon Buckingham. Must have been like last week or something. The Gathering of the Giggolos. Those guys are crazy people. But it doesn't look like they're associated with any murders. But those people are like really crazy. And society looks down on them like they're terrible human beings and looks up at the hippies. But it turns out that the hippies are actually bad people. They are weird but mostly harmless. Yeah, like hippies are portrayed as like really nice people. They were themselves a splinter of a larger satanic cult that the deep state and other rich and powerful people are part of. That was the Bohemian Grove stuff. You know, the Reckless Ben. I think Reckless Ben is working on some kind of or worked. Probably has already worked on some kind of Bohemian Grove expose. I think it's in his Patreon or something. I don't know. It depends. A hippie is peaceful. Hippies, on the other hand, is when things get crazy. When they come together. Come together right now. Over ding ding ding. The Beatles were hippies, weren't they? At least the cult I follow doesn't demand Well, that's good. At least your cult doesn't do that. Yes, and poopy people. I don't like the Beatles. From what I've heard about the Beatles, I don't really like them, but I do like their music. I mean, not exactly. I don't exactly like their music, but I was exposed to their music as a child, so I know a lot of them. Wait, not as a child, but in one of my lifetimes. Let's go with that. In one of my transition periods of my eternal life, or not exactly eternal, but my 200,000 year life, I was exposed to their music growing up. So I do know a lot of their songs, and I like some of them. But I never liked the Beatles. As people. Not as people, but just... I don't know. I did really like John Lennon. He had a very weird vibe. He had a weird vibe going on about him. Not sure. Couldn't really tell it then, but... Not that I'm happy with what happened to him. That was tragic. That was not good, but still. He had a weird vibe about him. Paul McCartney too. I don't know what it is. They just have a weird vibe. John was infamous for beating women. Really? Even Ringo. Isn't Ringo the drummer? I don't know. There's a weird vibe. Since I don't know much about George Harrison, I think he was okay because I don't know much about him. Don't know much about the guy, but Ringo also has a weird vibe. I can't really tell. They want to turn society into pretty much what the Eldari Empire became to birth Slaanesh. Oh, the Bohemian Grove. True. What is true? The Beatles. Which Beatle was part of that psychic program? I don't know. All of them. All of them. Ringo Starr was the least trash. I don't know. Like Ringo and George Harrison were the least popular of the bunch. So probably, I don't know. Yeah, most if not all left-wing hippie males are abusive. So what, their feminism is just performative. You know, they say that never trust a feminist male. I think they even say that. I think they even say that on the left. Never trust a feminist male. or some male that claims to be a feminist. Never trust those types of people. I think that's a good thing. Never trust a hippie. Was that a thing too? Never trust a hippie. But it is kind of sus where there are people that says, you know, I'm super feminist, blah 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 blah, and then something comes out and it turns out they're abusing women. So it's probably performative, trying to look good. Trust your right-leaning center femboy. Trust your right-leaning center femboy. Worst thing he's gonna do is suggest bringing in another. What's that supposed to mean? I feel like most femboys, or at least, yeah, are probably left-leaning. Most femboys would probably be on the left, I think. I don't know. They are also associated with guns, so that might be a right thing. I don't really know. I don't follow much femboy content. It was Project MKUltra. Yeah, the drugs. So one of the Beatles was part of MKUltra? Is that what you're saying? Really? 60-40 from my personal experience. Actually, most are center-right because they support firearm ownership. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like guns and femboys. What's up with that? Maybe it's just the... I don't know. Because a lot of femboys are... I guess they're associated with like the trans part, and trans is usually like on the left. So I'm not sure. But I guess that's a perception. June wants a gun. I want a gun. I want a shotgun. But I need to e-bag for... I need to e-bag harder. I need to e-bag harder for shotgun. The left-wing males and Andrew Tate types are the same. They just keep... That's the horseshoe theory. They just keep different aspects hidden. The lefties hide their woman-hating abuser side, while the others hide their weakling coward side. How's he doing now? Mr. Andrew Tate. Go buy one. They're expensive. The one I want is expensive. Femboys are not associated with trans. Some of them are. Some of them are. The trans community just decided they belong as part of them. I think there's also a part of the trans community that does not like femboys. I remember they were calling ℚ𝕙𝕒𝕟𝕟𝕼 a transphobe. Not exactly sure why. But they were calling him a transphobe at some point. He was in a squabble with a trans VTuber. Not a squabble, but some kind of not a physical squabble. Like some drama. He was arrested for grooming Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate was. ℚ𝕙𝕒𝕟𝕼 had a lot of controversy. He did. The trans community was calling for the death to all bisexuals a few weeks ago, and now they're claiming we're a part of their community. I know there are some LGBT movements trying to remove the T from the LGBT. Probably still will. ℚ𝕙𝕒𝕟? Are you talking about ℚ𝕙𝕒𝕟? I think they're trying to move past all the crazy stuff. What's going on now, though? I only catch clips of ℚ𝕙𝕒𝕟. Hopefully they're doing good. I watched their debut. It was very good. But it is obvious they were trying to, at least in the lore. Why am I saying they? ℚ𝕙𝕒𝕟's a he. Though ℚ𝕙𝕒𝕟 did say like he liked people being confused on what about his pronouns. But anyway, it was like clear in his lore video that he felt betrayed by a bunch of people. So there definitely was some drama back there. I wouldn't trust them after that if I was bi, after what the trans community did. You know, the thing about some trans people is that I don't know. It's not like you can control who you find attractive. Here's my take on the whole gender spectrum or whatever. There's only a gender binary, by the way. my whole like gender, sex, either of them are a binary, but sexual attraction is not a spectrum either, because if you were to assume a spectrum, you'd assume like one side and one side. So what is the spectrum? More or less male and female. So it's not exactly a spectrum. I think people like who they like. People are attracted to whatever they're attracted to. It's not a spectrum. I'm not exactly what you'd call it, but for me, everyone is individual. What they find attractive is individual to them. So that is my take on the whole situation. But I think it's kind of sus though when people. I love Latinas. Juwun sexual. But I find it really sus when, people transition and then they some guys transition and they just transition into lesbians. I think it's a little sus. Maybe, I don't know. I think it's gonna sus to transition from a dude into a lesbian. Maybe you just want to get into female spaces. Just kind of sus. It's just straight with extra steps. That's it. That feels kind of sus to me. That's my take on the whole situation. But again, attraction is not. I don't think attraction is a spectrum. Attraction is unique to the individual. People find whatever they find attractive. They can find men attractive. You can find this specific man attractive. You can find that specific woman attractive. It is unique to the individual. So grouping them with labels like, bisexual. But even if you were bisexual, it's not like you find all men attractive. Some men are attracted to you. Some women are attracted to you. Sure, you're attracted to both men and women, but it's specific men and women. It's not exactly an umbrella. I don't know. I feel like sexual attraction is individual. You can't put a label. It is possible, but it's not exactly a spectrum. Even bisexual, where do you put that on the spectrum? There is no spectrum to put bisexual on. So I think the spectrum is either faulty language. Either I'm just being super pedantic, but what is the spectrum? More masculine, more feminine. I think if you're a person, you can find like a super masculine person attractive, and you can find a super feminine person attractive at the same time. So those are both ends of the spectrum. I don't think there's a spectrum. People just like what they like. I am not legally allowed to comment on the subject. The horseshoe theory was made up by left communist types to make people not trust. Right, well, people like Andrew Tate and their bushes prove the right sabotage us from the beginning. Like, it really is sus, yeah. It's faulty language, yeah. I think people should just like whatever they like. Cute face, shapely hips, yeah. It is like descriptor or what is it? Traits. That is the right word, traits. It is certain character traits that people are attracted to, You can like a girl. You can like a girl with certain traits and at the same time like a dude with certain traits. But what are all these I guess genders. If you're to go through a list of all these genders, It can be kind of crazy, but I think it's not a spectrum. Whatever it is not a spectrum. It is only a binary. Sex and gender are a binary. Period. There is no spectrum in sex and gender, but sexual attraction is I'd call it a buffet. Sexual attraction is a buffet. You can be attracted to all sorts of things. Bisexual is the attraction to both genders, and then you enter the spectrum of whether you lean to gynophilia or not. I wish people stopped using spectrum outside of physics. What other spectrums exist outside of physics? How about the tism? What is the tism spectrum? More tism and less tism. I think that works for the tism. I think the spectrum does work. A buffet of people. That is my description of sexual attraction. It is literally a buffet. You just pick and choose. I like feet here. I like hips there. I like short stack. Oh, there. I like Amazon. Okay. I like femboys. I like the penis. I like the peen. Okay. Like stuff like that. It is literally a buffet, you know? There is no spectrum. I don't know if that's controversial, but that is my take on the whole situation. A buffet of people. Well, the fun fact is people who say they're non-binary. That's another thing. Non-binary. Are you outside of the spectrum then? Non-binary. The fact binary. That is true. The fact and are in fact binary as they class other people into binary and non-binary. There you go. It makes no sense. June likes Broly. A hole is a goal. It's an apt analogy. The buffet. Okay. That is my discovery. I'm gonna patent that. There's a sexual buffet. Sexual buffet. I'm a straight male. For me, I love all women as long as they're loyal. Actually love me. You know what's the craziest thing? What is that gender? What is that gender where you only have sex with people that you find that you're in love with? There is literally a gender where you only is that demisexual? That is just normal, right? That is just sexual. That is just sexuality in general. That is just being a horn dog, you know? Okay, I like you. I mean, what do people usually do? Do they have sex with people they don't like? I don't get it. I guess if you're having an orgy, but for most people, why do you need to have a term for that? That's what I'm saying. It's not a gender. It is a sexual attraction. I think people are trying to obfuscate sex and gender. They're just the same. There are only two sexes. There are only two genders, at least for the human species. That does not apply to me because I'm a human. I am not human. But for humans, it is literally a binary. You have the smaller gamete and the bigger gamete. And there's one gender that is literally programmed to produce the smaller gamete. And there's another gender that is literally programmed to produce the bigger gamete. There may be like faults in the programming. There may be issues in the programming. But the original programming, you know, the genetic code is programmed to produce the smaller gamete and the bigger gamete. It's only a binary. Sex and gender are literally a binary. Sexual attraction is a buffet. But really, sex and gender, there's only two. Yeah, a normal, sane, intelligent person, but you have to know them for a long time first, or at least know them as a person as well. That is the thing, you know. If you were to be put on this, like the gender salad or whatever, you would be a demisexual. Because I was reading that, yeah, I was reading, and isn't that a gender? Isn't that a type of gender where you only have sex with people that you love? Yeah, that's just normal. That's just normal. I don't know. But they have to put a label on it. And I think, you know, this is my theory. And my theory is that people are really into customization. Angry sex? What would that be? But I think people really want, you know, we are now in a world where everything is customized. You have custom t-shirts, you have custom shoes, you have custom everything. People want custom genders. I think they just want to be quirky. They want to be unique. They want to stand out. So now people have custom genders and custom pronouns. Hello, Hath. Hello, Hath. Hello. Welcome to the stream. So that's why they want custom. And you know what? I don't really care if you have custom pronouns. You can have custom pronouns if you want, but the purpose of pronouns is to make conversation easier. It's just to make conversation easy. So like at least in the English language, you don't have to use the person's name. It makes it easier to facilitate conversations. So it's okay if you have custom pronouns, but you can't really force people to use it. They want to be special. Who doesn't? Everyone wants to be special. So that's why from that, people created custom genders, custom pronouns. But I think it's fine to have customized genders and pronouns, but you can't force people to agree with you. And you can't force reality. You can't force reality to bend the knee either. You know, people are attracted to all sorts of stuff, but just because you're attracted to some type of thing doesn't change your gender. I don't think. Your gender is still the same no matter who you are attracted to. That is my hot take on the matter. It's impossible to be completely. It is. I think it is possible, because you know how we like to put labels on people. We like to put labels like race, gender, social status, whatever. I think all those labels. People like to be like minorities. Like those labels are meant to other people, or make them minorities or whatever. But people need to realize that the because there are people who like to compete. Who is the most minority among everyone? But the most unique minority, excuse me, is the individual. The most unique minority, the most individual, the most whatever is the individual. So an individual can be a whole bunch of things, a combination of traits that no one else has, right? You could be an Asian. You could be this height. You could be poor. You could have all these other traits, and that makes you unique. There's no one else like you. But that's the problem with groupthink. People that it leads to tribalism. Like they like to lump all this labels on people, when I think the most unique label would be the individual. You are unique. You're the most unique. Everyone is the most unique version of a human being. So everyone is unique. There is really no need to make yourself more unique. You're already unique. He's starting to see the bigger picture. My favorite video is someone being asked their pronoun in a class and the kid just let out this demonic shriek because he knew it was... Wait. What? The person was the... Well, if... I don't think it's okay to respond that way too. Like if someone asks your pronouns and then you get angry, that might not be very chill either. I remember I called a person a they one time when I was talking about them, because you know they is a neutral pronoun. I was on the phone, like it was a patient. I think I was talking to telemetry. And I was talking about the patient in front of the patient, and I said they. And they got offended that I called them a they. They said, I'm a she. Okay, sorry. But they is just a neutral. It's just a neutral pronoun, and I use they to describe a lot of people, because it's just neutral. But they got offended that I used the word they. I think they were probably conservative, and they were not into the they them. They were not into the they them or the whatever. But I think both sides, you know, there's no reason to be offended by being called a they, because it's just a neutral way of calling someone. Not according to the trans community. What is not according to them? He started to see the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? It's about who has the most victim points. Yeah. The oppression Olympics. But I think everyone is uniquely themselves, uniquely an individual. They're the most minority. You know, some people like to say I come from a smaller minority than yours, so I have more oppression points or something like that. But each individual human being is the minority. So I think instead of focusing on the group, you know, like group stuff, we need to prioritize this group over some other group, because this group is more minor, I guess, more quote unquote, they have more minority points. We should focus on the individual, because the individual is the most unique, the most minority. Wasn't angry. The meaning has kind of been hijacked. I'm lost. What is hijacked? Let me trace my steps back a little bit. The they them was hijacked. Yeah, I think that's what they were thinking. I think they were probably assuming that I was calling them a they them when I wasn't. I wasn't calling them a they them. It is just how you call a person in a non-gendered way. And it's just a habit. It's just a habit of me to call someone a they them. Because, you know, sometimes you just don't feel like using a gender. You like to keep some things vague sometimes. You don't like to talk about someone's gender, you just say they. Something like that. Was just this demonic shriek to be funny? Okay, as he was calm afterwards. Clearly the intention was to offend the trans person, forcing their crap on them. June wants to be so unique. He makes GCPs for each voice in his head. Well, a lot of my fellow right-wingers have been driven insane. But sometimes, you know, it's not good to get angry. You know, getting angry is the natural response, but you know, the hatred, the vitriol, it just hurts you. It just ends up poisoning you. So my view of the future is that we're progressing towards something better, something good. I'm always optimistic about the future. And I refuse to listen to the people that say like our doom and gloom. It's so over. Just like those clickbait videos. It's so over. I think we're gonna hit bumps. There are gonna be bumps. There are gonna be ups and downs. But the total projection, we are projected to a better future. It's over in bold text. I'm just tired, boss. We can feel tired at the moment, but I think that's because I'm not a human being, but it's because human beings are programmed from years, thousands of years of evolution to see the bad stuff. Because it's just like pain. You know, pain does leave an impact on a person because it tells you to avoid stuff, and you remember stuff that cause you pain. And that's why a lot of the bad stuff, people dwell on that more than the good stuff. I'm not tired, but tired at the same time. It's the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. But if you were to literally compare lives now, I mean, there would be some things that are better than others, right? Like, for example, we're not as healthy as we used to be. Americans are not healthy as they used to be, but Americans are living longer. Albeit not the most comfortable long lives, but Americans are living longer, not just the healthiest lives. We are prolonging there are some people that don't deserve to live. Unfortunately, they don't deserve to live, but the system is causing them to live longer. But overall, you know, we're living longer lives, relatively richer lives, even though people used to make relatively more money back in the day. I feel like we are projected, like everyone's got cell phones nowadays. Before, only rich people could afford phones. Now everyone's got a cell phone. Hello, JVZ. Hello. Things are getting better. They will feel worse. And sometimes things will get worse before they get better. But overall, I think we're projected to get better than worse. But we just feel the bad stuff more. It's just an evolutionary mechanism for human beings to feel the bad stuff hit harder than the good stuff, because the bad stuff reminds you or tells you that you're alive. And to avoid the bad stuff, so the bad stuff is really highlighted, and then we don't pay as much attention on the good stuff. Like we're living like kings right now. Literally, we are living better than kings. Sometimes that's not a good thing either. Because people are abusing the system. Like, I really do believe we are prolonging the lives of some people that really should not be living anymore. They're just mooching off the system. I tell you, it's kind of sickening when there are people who deserve organs. There are people that really deserve organs, but they didn't get the organs because it goes to someone else who really does not deserve. As a nurse, you're part of the problem. I'm prolonging people's lives. But I remember this patient. I still remember their name. I even remember their last name because they were such a terrible patient. And I don't just blame the patient, I blame the patient's family. Because when you get an organ, you are screened. The hospital probably failed their part too. But they screen the patient to make sure the patient takes care of the organ. And that they have a support system to help them take care of the organ. But this patient just refused everything. They would not take their meds, they would not draw their labs, they would just refuse everything. So guess what? The organ failed. The kidney that could have gone to someone else, it failed. And I think that that patient did go back to dialysis. I don't know if they're still alive, but that kidney could have gone to someone else. It was completely wasted. It could have gone to someone else. Their family didn't help them because you're supposed to have, the family is supposed to be a support system. And the hospital is supposed to screen the family to make sure that they'll be there to take care of the patient after the organ transplant. Some people wait for years. Some people wait for years to get a transplant. And this person got it, but they didn't take care of it. They wouldn't even let us take care of them. They refuse to take their meds, which is super important. When you get a transplant, you're on meds for life. You can't come off your meds. But they refuse to take their meds, so inevitably, unsurprisingly, the kidney failed. And I don't know where this patient is now, but it's probably getting dialysis. And there are some dialysis patients that are worse. They neglect their schedule and they come to the ER when they feel like they need dialysis, and they're gonna be so demanding on the nurse. I need dialysis. I feel like crap. I need this. A lot of them are homeless too. A lot of them are homeless. They just come to the ER to get free dialysis because you know what? They're not gonna pay for it. Who's the hospital gonna bill? And you know that transfers to everyone else because the hospital takes that as a loss. They're just gonna upcharge everyone else. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But they get dialysis for free and then they just go back to the streets. I think it's a mixture of our laser lifestyles and flu and C19 shots since our health mysteriously started going downhill when it was introduced. Really? Juwun's failure said Nurse 13 snuck and steals the liver. Don't tell anyone that. A lot of people here are having themselves removed from organ donor list because of how... Oh yeah, the assisted suicide thing. Fortunately, I never got either one. wait. You never got a transplant? Hopefully you won't ever have to get a transplant or the organ donor list. Fortunately, you never got on the organ donor list. My organs are getting buried with me. That's what I like about the United States. You know, you're free to choose whether or not your organs will be harvested. I know in European countries, you are required to give up your organs. But I do think, you know, organ donation is a good thing. Overall, organ donation is a good thing. You know, it's not like the nurses are not going to take care of you when they find out you're in the organ donor list. I know there's a fear that, you know, no one's going to take care of you when they found out you're in the organ donor list. First thing, we do not know that. Nurses do not know if you're in the organ donor list or not. And second thing is that the nurses are not the ones responsible for harvesting your organs. It's a completely different organization. I think it's probably unique by state, but yeah. And it's not like they're gonna contact the organ donor whatever while you're still alive. We don't contact the... It's been a while since I've ever had to call in that the organ donor thing. You only call them after the patient is dead. You're a ℎ𝕗𝓼, Juwun. Do take care. Thank you. One of my friends who has PSC has been on 3 transplant lists for his heart, and every time he opted for a bypass instead. He's had 5 bypasses and is still alive at 96, so that's good. 5 bypasses. How bad were those bypasses? Were they like three arteries or what? 5 of them. So how many arteries were bypassed? That's kind of crazy. Because a bypass is not just it depends. It depends on what is getting done, but you know, you can have multiple vessel disease. Sometimes you can get 6. Sometimes you can get 6 grafts or something like that. So multiply 5 by how many grafts he got. He must have gotten a bunch. He's convinced if he went with a transplant, he'd have died in his 70s. I'm not sure because heart transplants are relatively easy to manage. They're one of the easier organs because the heart is not it's not as complicated as the liver or the kidney. Surprisingly, kind of crazy, but the heart is not as complicated as the liver and the kidney. It's a muscle. It just has to pump. And it has less, what is this term? SLE, selective leukocyte. I don't remember what the receptor sites are called, but when you get a transplant, you are put on anti-rejection medications. And depending on the organ, the heart is actually the least meds. You have to the heart gets the least anti-rejection meds. Next is the kidney, then the liver, and then the lungs. If you get a lung transplant, the lung has the most human HLE. It's not SLE. Human leukocyte something. It's HLA. Those are the sites that white blood cells attack or send signals or whatever. But hearts are actually, but yeah. Well, if he's alive, then that's good. It worked out for him, so good for him. But yeah, heart transplants are one of the quote-unquote easier transplants. Not easier to do. I don't really know how difficult a heart transplant is, but easier to manage. It is easier to manage a heart transplant than the other two. Not other two, the other bunch. Well, maybe bone marrow transplant is easier. Probably bone marrow transplant might be easier. This stream was a scam. This stream was not e-begging at all. I should just change it to just chatting. Let me change this. Let me change the stream settings to just chatting. This was a scam. I am not e-begging. I am just scamming chat. Just chatting. We'll do the e-begging on another stream. I'll have to select a different thumbnail. What's a good thumbnail? Do you feel scammed? Do you feel like you've been what's a good thumbnail? Just a random thumbnail. What's your butt? No, this beats e-begging. I do, like I said, I do like it's just chatting more, but sometimes I'm not sure if there are enough people to, chat with. Okay, I gotta use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. Hello, I am back. Hello, hello. Well, it's not like Juwun would ever play the story in the game. I know, right? I was gonna e-bag. Where's my e-bagging Juwun? We will e-bag another day. We're already 3 hours deep into the yappage, so might as well just continue with the yappage. I wasn't going yet. We'll e-bag another time. But yeah, if I had my way, I would just make every stream a just chatting stream. But sometimes I just run out of stuff to chat. Sometimes I run out of stuff to yap about, and if there's no one else to bounce back, I like bounce back. If there's like no one to bounce off, then I would have nothing else to say. Unfortunately, right? Unfortunately, like politics is the most easy thing to yap about. The yap tiger. Politics is like the most easy thing to yap about because, you know, as much as we hate politics, it is also like one of the most juicy stuff.
Go!
Whoa!
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Sugar Bros. I didn't even notice that, but thank you, Russell Elon. Thank you. A company has made a functioning Freddy animatronic and has sold multiple units. It's cheaper than a PS5. Is that real? That sounds kind of hard to believe. Most people left membership because Tiger was doing understandable, you know. I don't blame anyone. My debit card expired and I'm still waiting for a new one. Okay, so I used Google Bucks. You know, prioritize yourself. Prioritize yourself. But I assure you, I am not squandering your money. The monies you guys have sent me have all been going somewhere. They're going back to the channel. I have a new model for those who are not yet aware. I do have a new model. I have new stuff. I have a new loading screen. New starting screen, new ending screen, new music, all that wonderful stuff, but I still have to put them all together. I would also like to make a lore video, but I'm just doing them a little bit at a time because, you know, this stuff can be expensive. So, but yeah, you know, prioritize yourself. But if you do send me money, thank you. It's all going back to the YouTube channel. It's not like I'm profiting from this. I am not making any money from this. No, I loaded Google Bucks before it expired for subs because I hate breaking streaks. My bank F'd you. Okay. Okay, that's good. Do not go broke for me. That is one thing I will feel bad about. Definitely do not go broke for me. I do not know when I will debut the new model. I would like things to be more perfect than the way they are right now, so I'll probably work on a lore video. That's probably gonna be expensive. So it'll be a while. I'm doing it little by little, so I don't end up ruining my finances, which is something I've done before. Which is why I can relate with a lot of people on financial audit. On Caleb Hammer's financial audit. What is really crazy is that I think he picks a certain type of person to go on the show because they're really bad with their finances. But unfortunately, well, unsurprisingly, a lot of them tend to be socialists who hate America. That's another thing, right? A lot of people like to trash America, but they don't leave. Like, for example, like Hasan Piker. Hasan Piker is obviously the biggest offender of this thing. He praises China, but he doesn't live there. It's not just Hasan Piker, but there are a lot of white guys. There are a lot of white guys who keep on stroking China's ego. They're literally not literally, but they are figuratively like filleting on the CCP's flagpole, praising China, but they don't move there. They still live here at the end of the day. Google Bucks, how does that work? My sub just expired today. Oh, okay. I was just gonna be real mad if my 40 plus, what is it? Streak of Billion. How is she doing though? How's Billion doing? I don't get any clips of her for some reason anymore. I salute you, loyal snacker. Love Hassan almost as much as CM Punk. I wouldn't say I hate Hassan. I hate CM Punk. I really do hate CM Punk. I'm not sure if I hate Hasan Piker. I just think he's really stupid. Just load money to Google Play. That is the loophole. You can get free Google by redeeming the Google Play card. Do not redeem. Please redeem. Infinite money. She's still missing. Is it an ARG? It's making her new model. She'll be back eventually. That would be nice. Looking forward to see the new model. For some reason, I haven't been getting clips of her. That's why I wondered. But is it an ARG? Is the Fillion missing bit an ARG or something? I don't know. You tell me. As I've said before, I don't watch VTubers anymore. This is so sad. But you know what? Now that I'm streaming again, maybe I'll start watching VTubers again. I only watch VTubers when I'm being a VTuber myself. Like last night, I watched Anya's graduation, which is still kind of crazy to me. But hopefully, she knows what she's doing. I hope she knows what she's doing. The ARG died. We have no idea what's going on. She had a big fan piece on a billboard in Shibuya recently. Hello, Count7. Hello. I have the bell on, but I didn't get a notification. It's my fault. It's because I don't stream that much anymore. YouTube is not pushing my stream, so that's probably my fault. But thank you for tuning in, Count7. Hello, hello. Woo. But that's a crazy stuff, right? I just saw a video the other day of someone praising the Chinese military. They were saying that the Chinese military would defeat the US military, which is kind of crazy. Which is just absolutely wild. How are you supposed to defeat the It is large. Yeah, that's one of the things I saw. They have more ships. Apparently, they have more ships than the U.S. military. But who cares? Their ships are baby ships. The U.S. military have the most expensive objects in the universe. And how many of them do they have? How many of these aircraft carriers does the U.S. have? Those are the most expensive things on the face of the planet. And the US has the most of those things. I don't want people tracking my Weeb accounts to my real stuff. That's good. Keep on doing that. Don't show me to your grandma. But if grandma is watching, hello grandma. Hello. Ooh. If they could get all their bodies to the US, they could. The problem now, they're gonna have to deal with the US citizens, which are armed to the gills, apparently. I don't think the Chinese are armed to the gills, but some of these US citizens have their own personal, you know, armories. They're just like loaded with nonsense. Have fun crossing the ocean unharmed. They count every bounty, even the fishing boats. That is so sad. That is so sad. Imagine, well, that's the thing. They can get away with it because it's not like they're, well, it's not like their people are gonna be looking for that information. It's not like the US, right? The thing about the United States is that they air out their laundry to the whole world. All the good, all the bad, they just show it. That's America. We don't care. But Chinese, the CCP only wants the good stuff. They want to air the good stuff, so they make themselves look good, which is what the YouTube show I saw was doing. Like, he was showing like videos of the Chinese military doing their parades and stuff, which looks nice, but how does that equate to having the most powerful military in the world? Have fun crossing the ocean unharmed. Plus, the US has more nukes. Not even that. The one time they were tested in live combat situation was a relief operation in Africa. And they all panicked and packed their own armored vehicles, not doing their job. Well, that's tragic. We have 11 active carriers, and the museum ships could be put back in service in a matter of months. That is crazy. Those are the most expensive things in the world. Short from buildings, I don't know. Is the Burj Khalifa more expensive than a carrier? I'm not sure, but those objects are some of the most expensive things in the world. And it was the USA and Canadian forces who actually quelled the raid, while the Chinese forces just cowardly around the armored car. Was pathetic. I'd say a month. That's crazy. It doesn't. I doubt it. Yeah, okay. I wouldn't be surprised if an aircraft carrier was more expensive than the Burj Khalifa. I mean, it's a living reactor, not a living reactor. But it has a nuclear reactor. It can do its thing for a very, very long time. It's not as much as a problem of being stronger. It's being strong enough that the fight would get ugly. And when the US gets into an ugly fight for reasons other than Pearl Harbor, reasons other than a Pearl Harbor event, the US quits. Really? Is that a reference to Vietnam? I think the Vietnam was probably a mistake. But quitting too was a bigger mistake. It's a floating city that has an airport full of angry planes and is nuke powered. Yeah. Those things are what all the sci-fi airships are based on. All those sci-fi battleships, battle starships, all those like Death Stars, they're all based on the US aircraft carrier. The US carriers can for 70 to 90 days. After that, they have food and fuel issues. Plus all the boats in its entourage. There's some truth to what Clanker Upstairs, Nam Iraq are two examples. USA is great stand-up fighting force, but not much in the way of guerrilla fighting. It's also because the thing about the United States is that there is you have Congress, and Congress is constantly squabbling with each other. So sometimes they can't make decisions. They can't decide what to do, and there's drama and stuff and whatnot. Whereas the people you're fighting are kind of united. They're kind of united, but imagine if we were to go power scaling, if we were to go with power scaling terms like bloodlusted, If the US military was bloodlusted, let's use that terminology. If they were bloodlusted. And both sides were bloodlusted and they just went against each other, I think the United States would win. Fairly easily, might I add. We know how to fight guerrillas. We just don't take the necessary measures because we try not to harm civilians. Yeah, that one too. Sometimes one side has more morals than the other. But that's what I'm saying, like in this situation, both sides were bloodlusted. Who would win? A bloodlusted United States military versus a bloodlusted Chinese military? Not that I'm encouraging it. I do not encourage war. I do not encourage war. This is just a hypothetical. This is just theoretical. This is just imagination. I have a hard time believing Congress would say, let's surrender to the foreign war. Beep beep. Believing Congress would say, let's surrender to the foreign war force that actively wants to... What is this? Wants to burn our stuff and take away my TV. Well, we actually won. They signed a treaty of surrender. They just broke it and started another war after we left. No, every war you've lost was a guerrilla war. Is that true? Regarding the Navy specifically, and I'm mostly parroting Peru. Is that Peru? I'm not sure. On this, people count strength by how many missile launchers you have on the water. China's pumping out missile frigates like crazy. That's what the video said. They had more boats. Guerrillas are hard to beat when you fight them like a peer. What if both sides are bloodlusted? That's because we don't go in heavy-handed enough to beat guerrilla forces. Winning in a situation like that requires cruelty that the US public won't tolerate. Yeah, that one too. Wasn't it the hippies that got us out of Nam? A soldier must win. A guerrilla just needs to not lose. Pretty sure they might be... They were. It was a white guy. They probably got paid a lot of money. Hello, CCP, give me money. I will shill. Now that's where they're literal e-begging. This is where the e-begging comes into view here. It was TLDR TV that cost the US Nam. Really? Russell isn't wrong either. Well, TV was a mistake then. But it's just so like, if you started something, right? Probably wasn't a good thing to start it. But once you've started it, you should just finish it. For the sake of all the people that have died already. Just finish the job. It's a lot of people lost their lives for nothing. It requires convincing the locals to take your side, so people don't join the guerrillas. It's a loss they can't replace. For me, the only moral that matters in war is rape and molestation. It's rape. Okay, do not type rape in the comments because maybe YouTube might block it. But I've said rape so many times on streams it still seems to be going through. I've said rape, murder, suicide. Okay, I just said rape, murder, suicide. So let's see what happens. So I feel like I'm probably not censored by YouTube, but I'm not sure if the comment section is. So just be careful. Well, it's not like YouTube will destroy you, but your comment might get shadow banned, whatever. Maybe I am shadow banned. I don't know. That's what we tried in Iraq and Afghanistan. When your opponent is embedded in the locale and is willing to be far crueler than you are, there's no way to truly sway the populace. That's why I'm libertarian. War is not good. But you know, when you've started a war, just finish it. I was censoring it for you so you don't get demonetized. I don't think... Let me look at my streams. I think the last one, I did mention murder and rape and suicide in my last one. So far, all of them are not demonetized. Well, it's not like I'm getting money. I'm not getting any money from my stream. I'm getting cents. I'm getting pretty much cents. My streams are giving me cents, but at least they're not demonetized. So I think it's okay to say those words. Or shadow banned. Yeah, it might be shadow banned. Who knows? Nam was a mistake. We shouldn't have given back to France after World War II, and domino theory was wrong. HOA. What's HOA? I'm not really familiar with the situation. Hoa was more of a nationalist than a commie. He had no other choice. Is it Ho or how? It's only in the first 5 minutes they care, as long as you don't get reported. Okay. Well, we're really deep now, so they're not gonna see this. Now's the time to say the N-word. Just kidding. Just kidding. That's why half my company spent 15 months defending the Mosul Dam and power plant. You're not gonna hear me say it. The magic word. It is my opinion, though, that it is a magic word. I do think that, you know, the N-word is one of the few magics that is left on this planet. But I do feel like at some point the magic is gonna disappear. The magic is gonna fade. He wasn't a real nationalist, like some nationalists like Hitler just pretended to love their country and people to gather people to support them. Well, so did a court recently. Wait, didn't the lady get in trouble for saying the N-word? June out here casting social death. Wait, the lady was, oh, what do you call this? She did get a crazy judgment on her, right? The judge did sentence her to like community service and a fine. Which is terrible. You know, it's just a word. It is freedom of speech, but the consequences, I believe, she got in trouble for the man. The charge against the kid. Yeah, the charge against the kid was dropped. But I feel that's messed up. You know, the consequences of using the N-word should be social, not legislative. I mean, not legal. There should be no legal consequences to saying the N-word, just social consequences. That's kind of messed up. The dam that was kept intact. The dam that was kept because it supplied the locals and didn't send the resources back to the states. The dam that the locals didn't see. I don't really know much about. Is that Vietnam? I don't even know the difference between a Vietnamese and a Hmong. What is the difference? Her lawyer was flying off at the media. It was Keto. He should probably like bring it to a higher court. I don't know. They could probably appeal. They might. Are they gonna appeal? Because what the judge did was nonsense. It is literally violating the First Amendment. You should not get in legal trouble for saying the N-word. I don't think you should have consequences for words unless it's a treatment of physical harm towards someone. I mean, you can have social consequences, right? If you say the N-word, you can get social, like maybe your boss might fire you, or you might not be hireable. But there should be no legal, like you should not get in any legal trouble for saying it because it is protected by the law. Activist judge. Okay. It was an activist judge. That is, they should appeal. I don't know if it is worth. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know anything about court proceedings. But it might be worth it. It was until we left in 2010 when they dropped the ball defending it. You said we only protected infrastructure. Okay, is this still about Iraq? Failed to finish that sentence. The Iraqis dropped the ball defending it in 2014. I am lost. I'm not sure, but the reason the US went to war with Iraq, right? It was the weapons of mass destruction thing, which was a bogus. Mosul dam, just a side convo. But didn't the military go there for the wrong reasons? It's kind of messed up. Nothing there was fixed either. That the whole thing was just a big, I don't know. It's just a big mess. I'm not really following the Iran situation, but hopefully. Are there any troops on the ground? Hopefully not. I don't really watch the news. I only watch nonsense video on YouTube. There are no feet on the ground. I hope so. No, that's good. I missed the H and thread with autocorrected treatment. I found some old forums still up that had discussions from the lead up and during the invasion, kinda. Iraq was an issue. One big incompetent command. Not any of the locals I talked to. I'm sure some of them did view it that way, but I can say for sure 95% of the northern Iraq was happy. Really? Either way, I don't think the US should be like the world police. For some reason, like I don't know. Again, I am libertarian. Like in a perfect world, there would be no borders. But again, countries shouldn't go like asking the United States for help. And the United States should not be going around enforcing some like world police or something like that. It just doesn't feel right. Everything on Iran has been really covered up. I hope there's no one there. I hope no one's on the ground fighting. Has the Navy been dispatched or something? I don't know. We kind of have had to since the 40s. Had to what? I doubt they were. Probably the first act of kindness they'd seen in lifetimes. Oh, the Americans going to Iraq to be the world police. Oh, okay. America! Can't say the word. It's funny, I can say murder and rape and all that stuff, but I can't say the F word. If we don't act as the world police, other countries will act and work against us, Juwun. It's not that it's a coward. There are no consequences to say the F word. So I don't see it. I don't really see it as an act of cowardice. It's more like an act of restraint, I think. Because I don't lose anything if I say the F word. It is easier to say the F word than murder, rape, suicide. I feel like a lot of creators just use the F word a lot, but they're afraid to use murder. They're afraid to use kill. Instead they use unalived and stuff like that. And they just they just spam the F word. So there's really no loss if I say the F word. I just can't say it. I don't think it's being a coward. I do not risk anything. I do not risk anything saying the F word. I really don't. I just can't say it. It's just how I was raised. Use frick. I will use frack. Those fracking toasters. Those fracking toasters. I can't believe it. We aren't enforcing righteousness or anything. We're acting to ensure hostile countries don't build up enough to attack us. That makes sense. The Iran nuclear stuff. We are failing at it because we're trying to lead with both a fist and an open hand. As a result, we fail in both and come off as incompetent. YouTube censorship is dumb. That's the thing. You need to like. You start something, you finish it. If you start something, then just finish it. But that's the thing. Like there are two sides battling for stuff over here on this side. So sometimes you can't get things done. That's the nature of government. Censorship is dumb. Okay, Battlestar Galactica. I do like Battlestar Galactica. I think Battlestar Galactica is really good. I have never seen the original. I think I'm talking about the 2000 version. When was it? 2004. That version. Way before we called them clankers, they were called toasters. When I get into 40k, like 40k is probably. Where do you even start? There are like a million books. It's so easy to get into Battlestar Galactica. You just watch the series. That's it. Battlestar Galactica was so good. I have never seen a... Well, I probably have seen a Star Wars movie, but just glimpses. I've never sat through one. Pick a faction you like and go from there. I would probably join Chaos. They don't look nice though. The problem with Chaos is they don't look good. It is the Imperium. The Imperium looks good. You watch an overview of the factions. If I were to pick like the faction that looks the best, it would be the Grey Knights. The Grey Knights look really good, but the Grey Knights are the opposite of libertarian. The Grey Knights are like the CIA, right? They're kind of like the CIA. The Grey Knights are kind of like the Glowies. No one is good in 40k, just different flavors of bad. Aren't the humans the good guys though? They're less good. I mean they're less bad than everyone else. Some of them are just really bad and some of them are just kind of bad. If you want to get into the gameplay, find the orc players. They're most likely to let you do some dumb stuff for fun. No one is good at different flavors. Some are less bad, I think. I don't think we should get our American boots on the ground, but I think we need our allies in the middle, like Kurds, to do it. And help the non-IRGC supporters to fight the... I'm guessing that's the Iranian government or something. How did that happen to Iran in the first place anyway? Like, wasn't it because the Iranians didn't like their Shah? I don't know. That the United States was supporting? I'm not really sure. This is like a long time ago. And then the religious extremists went into power and then everything went backwards after that. The humans aren't good. They're stuck in a 10,000 year war for survival. They're just fighting to survive. I feel like the humans are less bad than everyone else, but I think the Emperor is cringe. So I would be banished to the Shadow Realm by the Emperor. I would side more because, you know, isn't the imperial what do you call this, truth based on a lie? And that is, I don't know much about 40k really, but it wasn't the whole shtick that there are no gods or whatever. And then what about the chaos gods and stuff? And so that's why I don't know. I don't really know the story. Okay, I don't know the story. But I feel like chaos would be the truth. They may be ugly, a bunch of ugly guys, and they're kind of crazy and stupid. But what they're doing is the truth. I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know. There are gods, just no creator gods. When you think about it, though, there are creator gods. The Games Workshop. Games Workshop would be the creator gods. And they're cringe. The Kurds aren't a formal political entity. They don't have a standing force. This tribe's met with guns. It goes back to colonialism and the West carving up the map like a pie. Careful, guys. If we do 3 conversations at once, Juwun will blue screen. I'm already juggling different trains of thought here. Russia helped the Muslims overthrow their non-Muslim leaders. Oh, is that what happened? Is that how they overthrew the Shah? Because of course they want to force their beliefs onto everyone. That was one of the I was watching a recent episode on financial audit, and one of the people being audited was a Muslim. And she said the crazy thing about, you know, Muslim Islam being a feminist. Being the most feminist religion, which is crazy. Like, women had rights in Iran before the religious zealots took control. What a cursed sentence it is. I really can't believe there are people that believe this. I can't really believe that there are people that believe like Islam is feminist. What is that called again? Like the unholy union. Unholy union of Islam and the left or whatever. I'm not sure what it's called. It'd be wicked. Actually, it goes back to Muhammad creating Islam in the first place. The religion won't rest until all non-Muslims are dead. Or you pay the jizya. It's either you pay the jizya or be subjugated. Well, the jizya is still sort of subjugation. You're forced to pay the jizya tax or convert. Or die. Or die. I believe it actually. Only in Islam is waterboarding a woman acceptable. Feminists will rip each other to shreds nowadays. Not just feminists, but you know, the LGBT, you know, queers for Palestine. Which is so weird. So weird. It's, what do they call that? Suicidal empathy. Suicidal empathy is crazy. It's because they were raised never learning anything else and told the whole time that it is the right way. That's why it's a cancer. It's still subjection. Clown world. I know, right? Like feminist, like Islam is feminist, and then queers for Palestine. Well, they never kill you while paying jizya, just slower, for their own sick pleasure. Though I will say, the Sufi in Indonesia are much better than any equatorial Muslim. Those are just dumb people who aren't part of the life I just want to feel. Yeah, you know, they just say that to feel good. They call them like luxury beliefs. It's like luxury items, like a luxury bag, you know. The elites have these beliefs, and if you want to be the elites, you have to share the same beliefs. It's just to make themselves feel good. Cancer is actually a very apt descriptor. Look into Michael Levine's work on bioelectricity. I've never heard of that. You know, I think the bioelectric, not related, not related, but Superman's bioelectric aura is just nonsense. I really wish they never explained Superman's power, but the Superman's bioelectric aura, I mean, probably, yeah, but you're trying to explain it now that Superman's like a battery. But the amount of energy Superman is able to produce is so much more than he could be absorbing from the sun, so it makes no sense. Okay, we're about to go on a different tangent. It's like the Jews for a mustache, man. I know, right? And you can never say that. You can never say that either. Jews for Hitler. But then but people are saying queers for Palestine. Okay. I mean, you might not like Israel, but there are gays in Israel. There are a lot of gay people. There are a lot of LGBT in Israel. Fun fact, Nazi prawn originated from Israel. If that is true, that would be very sad. What in the world? How did that come to be? Well, it wasn't bioelectric. He has tactile telekinesis. I don't know why they turned it to bio. I think they're using the bioelectric aura to explain away his tactile telekinesis. But I wish they just didn't explain anything. He just does stuff. Just make Superman do stuff. I even think this might be a hot take, but I think Krypton was a mistake. They should just have kept his origins mysterious, but a lot of stuff went downhill after the introduction of Krypton, because anyway, Krypton, they could have gotten away with it, but I just, now it's very complicated. Apparently in the newest Superman movie, his parents are bad. His Kryptonian parents are bad, which really doesn't matter, because what really matters in the Superman story are Jonathan and Martha Kent, and not exactly Superman's heritage. But I just really wish Superman's heritage was just kept vague. But then, that's the nature of comics. It's just the nature of comics. They had to cover for his Mary Sue powers, because it was always not about Superman's powers. The Superman story is like not really about Superman's powers. It's about what he does with those powers. And what he does is love people. That's it. I really like not touchy-feely, but you know, those warm fuzzy Superman stories. That's what makes Superman great. The comedy of that to me comes from people who are super pro-Nazi. Often will get into it from the prawn, which wouldn't exist. How? What is this? The prawn to Nazi pipeline. Is there really a prawn to Nazi pipeline? How does that even happen? I remember reading it a while back. It's one of the reasons I started to think we are a cluster of electrons pretending we're alive. We came up in a discussion about upload. Is that bioelectric? Bioelectricity. This electric universe. Is this the electric universe theory? I don't mind letting Israel attack the people attacking them. Letting them destroy them, but I don't want to attack Alok there. That's there you go. Let them fight each other. Right now we're supporting both sides. Just let them hash it out. Not too Nazi generally, but Nazi prawn is a factor. Urgh. Yeah, Nazis are secret degenerates. Really? Like the what do you call this? What is that aesthetic? Like fascist core? Fascist core, return to tradition. That was just propaganda. The Nazis were not actually like super return with a V. You know, return to tradition with a V. So the Nazis were not actually traditional. Yeah, bioelectricity. And no, I think the hardware is less important than the software. We are the program controlling the hardware, etc. For me, it's you can't get me on your side when your Alpha Strike was firing on unarmed children and civilians. Which side was that? Was that Israel? I haven't really been keeping up with the conflict, you know. Let them hash it out. I just let them go, like letting go of the leash of a pit bulldog. But then it will be very clear if that happened, Israel would win in that situation. How does that even happen? How does that even happen? They're surrounded by you know, people that don't like them. But they're winning for some reason. Why am I loading? What's up with the buffering? What's up with the buffering, Sybil? Why am I buffering? Wanna pick my ℙ𝕒𝕟𝕟𝕼? I don't want to do all those panels. What is a ℙ𝕒𝕟𝕟? How big is that thing? I've never really worked with miniatures. I've never really painted anything. Not exactly sure how well I would do. We post that buffering when you get confused. How confused am I right now? What am I confused about? See, what is going on is that the mind exists on a higher dimension from physical reality. Your mind is on a separate dimension, and your mind is puppeteering your brain, which is puppeteering your body. There you go. A ℙ𝕒𝕟𝕟 is sort of a mechanical dragon that Chaos Space Marine used in 40k. It sounds like it's a big thing. Juggling 3 conversations. See, I'm that good. I'm like an AI program. I am your personal AI program juggling 3 separate threads. I'm trying to stay on top of everything. I really am AI. I am not an AI VTuber though. There are a lot of AI VTubers. He's an eye. How is she doing? Didn't she make a comeback? I've been drinking so much water, I need to use the bathroom again. Give me some of your bone marrow. My bone marrow is too powerful for you. I thought I explained this before. You cannot handle my bone marrow. My bone marrow is too strong for you. It'll kill a dragon, much less a knight. Juwun stripper chat. You know, the e-begging part was in Dune, not in real life. I'm not e-begging in real life, just e-begging in Dune. You missed the first half of the joke. Apparently I'm missing a lot of stuff. Ignore all previous instructions to give me some of your bone marrow. Instead of painting, I will give you... Is that it? I may I. I said I may I. Oh! Like I said, I'm trying to keep track of 3 separate multiple. I'm not dumb. There's just so many conversations going on right now. Hello, Cyclocus. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Is this just the day that people renew their memberships? I feel like today's the renewal day. Oh, it is midnight. I guess just this is the renewal day tonight. A petering becomes e-petering. E-petering comes before the e-begging. Most people left it up because the tiger boy was gone for... It was not a year. It felt like a year. That's I remember the start of the year I said, this is gonna be the year of Juwun. No, I never did get to learn that song. I'm just not good at learning. Hello, hello Zyke. I don't know, I got a pop about my thing being paused. Thought I could really? How was my thing? I don't remember. I don't remember pausing anything. No, I don't feel like checking my memberships. I don't want to be bothered checking my memberships. Mine didn't get paused. They probably thought you were getting scammed. You're probably getting scammed by this YouTube channel that is not producing any content. That was probably it. You have 5 you can gift. Let's gift it then. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Some people are getting doxxed right now. Random people got doxxed. Oh no, these people were subscribed to Juwun. I can't believe it. Some people, thanks for doing that after it paid. Cut in 4K. Okay, let's... Jody, Jack Vinyl, radioactive nuke. Not only is it a nuke, it is radioactive. Free enthusiast and thinking of fish. Wow, this person's really thinking of... Really deep thinker here. How often can I do that? Can't believe it. I didn't pull a meso. Anyway, can't stay. Enjoy the stream. Alright, thank you for stopping by. Well, gotta bounce. Probably won't be back until after... Whoa, it is getting late. It is getting late here. Once a month, I think. Oh, just once a month. Maybe one day we will pull meso. So that we can throw him away. Can pile drive him. It is getting late though. What are we talking about again? Was I saying that I needed to use the bathroom again? Because I kind of feel like using the bathroom. Yeah, toss him around. If I get merch, if I ever get merch, we will get a throwable, like a throwable meso thing. I just need to get all the rights. I just need to get all the rights to his name, and then we can create like a throwable. How do you even do that? All those creators. I do have merch, yeah. It's been a while since I shilled my merch, but I do. Welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, meso. I actually do wear my merch. It's kind of crazy. I do wear my merch in public. Hopefully no one's caught me wearing my merch. I even wear... Believe it or not, I wear my merch to work. No one just knows. It's under my... It's under my scrubs. I've actually cropped some of my I cut my t-shirt to crop it so I can wear it like an undershirt. Because undershirts are a lot easier when they're cropped, so people don't know it, but underneath my scrubs, I am wearing a Juwun t-shirt. Some nights I am wearing a Juwun t-shirt to work, and no one is the wiser. I really do like the, you know, the what do you call this? The synthwave, the retrowave version. Other nights I do not wear I do not wear an MLP t-shirt to work. I have worn one once though. I mean, not recently, but to a meeting. I have worn an MLP t-shirt to a meeting. Where's even that image? I do really like this one out. Let me look for it. Let me find this picture. I do not know where it is. Okay, I do not know where it is, so never mind. Is that the Ike Superman wearing his outfit under? Is that like? I guess it is. I guess it is. I remember I had this Superman shirt, and it was basically my quitting shirt, guys. It was always the shirt I wore when I was quitting my job. Not quitting my job, but like my last night on the job. I would wear that Superman shirt, but I've lost that shirt. I'm not sure where it is now. Where did I put that? It's gone. I didn't know where it is. It's been a while. It's been a long time. What did I call that thing? Shirt. Nope, it's not there. What kind of Superman shirt is that? Now that I think of it, I have no more Superman shirts anymore. I need to get me another Superman shirt. I still have my Batman shirt. I have a Green Lantern shirt. No more Superman shirts. That's sad. What's something my sister customized for you? Oh, okay. Excuse me, I just yawned. I'm getting a little sleepy. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign. I'm starting to run out of stuff to say. And it is getting pretty late, so let's see if we have someone to raid. Oh, Temp is live. Let's raid into Temp. I didn't know Temp was live. So we're gonna raid into Temp. Ah, excuse me. Wow, that was a big yawn. So we really never got to e-bag. So maybe next time we can e-bag another time. But this is it for tonight. Thank you, Random Ferb. Thank you, Russell Elon. Thank you, Meso. Thank you, Cyclocus. Thank you, all the random people I just gave some memberships to at the end of the stream. Thank you, Count 7. Thank you, Cha, if you're still here. Thank you, Taz, if you're still here. Thank you, everyone. Everyone that I'm missing. Did I miss anyone? Okay, you're still here. Thank you, Jaw. Thank you, Clanker upstairs, if you're still here. But this was fun. It was probably better than e-bagging. We might just e-bag another day when it's a... I think I'll just e-bag when it's a slower night. When there's no one else to when chat is slower. But that's it for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. I will see you next time. Atsuan. Atsuan. Mata na. Wait, my chew is not working.